מלאכים, ונקת תהילים, צועדת על הים, נוצרת צפנים, פורצת שמחה ושקיעה, עונה יום וליל, המלכה היכלתי ודורות חלקות לחיים. רב נשלח ומלך נפלא, ונחה לפני פורתנו, אילנות מכאן נתמודד, מפלצות נעשלה, נשים לנו בבית, סללית בקודש נשים, ממועידך וירא, חסון ידי. לחם היית לצנן, מן האדמה פירותייך נותן, יודע אשר בכל לב, נספרה כל נפלאותייך.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Finally decided to do this actually at a decent time and not right before the next week starts. So, yeah, let's get into it. Just so we can all save time. Let's see, where is it? But how are you doing, Graham?
Doing pretty good. Always glad to stream with you, Ariel.
Likewise, it's a lot of fun. Also, you always manage to find stuff that I would have never found on my own. Alright, so let's see. Alright. Baruch Adonai. Oh wait. Baruch Hu et Adonai Amvarach. Baruch Adonai Amvarach L'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Zoom in. It's too small. I've had a long night. Vayera elav Adonai be'elonei mamre vehu yoshev petach haohel kechum hayom. So it'd be and Yahweh appeared upon him or before him. In the terebinths, or some have it as oaks, but the terebinths of Mamre, and he was sitting or reclining. Sitting at the petach haohel, the opening or the entrance of the tent, kechum hayom, like the heat of the day. I guess the translation here it has is as the day grew hot. Vayisa enav, Vayisa enav, Vayera, V'hine shlosha anashim nitzavim alav, Vayera, Vayaratz likratam mi petach haohel vayishtachu artsa. So, and he lifted his eyes and beheld and saw three people, or three persons, literally. Nitzavim standing before him, and he saw and he ran likrotam to welcome them or to greet them. Mi petach ohel, from the opening of the tent. Vayishtachu artza, and he bowed down to the ground. So, wait, as he talks. Okay, so yeah, here. Vayomer Adonai. Imna matzati chen be'enecha al na ta'avor me'al avdecha. So this is interesting. So Vayomer Adonai. So he said, and then here's like the quote, Adonai. And what's interesting is the literal translation of this, which is, the accurate one, is my lords. It's a plural. So like I just find that really interesting that like here it's saying, referring either to the delegation, apparent leader, or to God. So it kind of implying that he's like addressing God through these three people who, it's implying are angels. But again, how does he know this? Any thoughts so far?
No, I was going to say the identity of those three people is one of those great conundrums, and people have different theories, and none of them are consistent.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Zero. If you want to join, I'll put the link in here. Here we go. But no, like, what do you think about the fact that the way that, like, given, I feel like there's some Christian apologists who would have like a field day with this, and this, like, it's not what I'm implying by any means, but it is kind of interesting that you have, let's see, where is it? Yeah, I mean, it's basically, this word is what's used as the filler for saying the tetragrammaton. What's interesting is that it's like by definition plural, and I'm pretty sure the only time you'll like, I mean, I'd have to guess that it's only used in the plural in the context of the Hebrew Bible, and then later that I don't know. I think it's interesting, but I guess the implication is if this is how Abraham referred to God, then there's no issue using it. But so he said, "My lords, if you please." If you please, matzati chen, find grace beinecha, in your eyes. May I find grace in your eyes. Alna, so that so please tavor me'al, please cross over, or no, do not go past, do not cross over, or like past me'al avdecha, your servant. Yukach na, please take me'at mayim, from this water, or from a little water, virachatzu, and bathe. I don't know why I was saying wine. And bathe raglechem, your feet, vihishanu. Sha'an, lean on, trust in, or support. Sha'an. It's also like to be tranquil. So basically, relax. Tachat ha'etz, like relax beneath the tree. Oh, Zero's here. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Zero.
Let's see. Where are we? Actually, real quick, I'm going to see what the commentary is here on this. That's a lot of commentary, but I need to find something in English so I don't have to translate. Okay, here. According to Rashi, these three men were in fact three angels with different tasks to perform. One was Raphael, whose task it was to heal Abraham from the wounds of the circumcision. This is based on Talmud Baba Metzia. He then went on to save Lot. Of the two angels who proceeded on to Sodom, one was Michael. If it had been so, this would contradict the statement of our sages that an angel is assigned only one task at a time. Thus, some rabbis consider saving Lot as similar in. Okay, yeah. It's Avim interrupting their walk. Okay. Anything else? Oh, maybe this is what I'm looking for. Commentary on this. Wait, what? Huh. Can't really find much. Oh, wait, here. Wait, what? I'm just trying to see if this is worth. I mean, it's interesting. It's just very complex. I'm trying to see if there's. Yeah, it's very
So,
Yeah.
so with the plural of Adonai, and what do we know about the origin of Adonai as the word? Any parallels with the previous deities?
Oh, you mean like Adon?
Yeah,
Um.
because I mean, one way that Baal is used is as Lord.
Yeah. That. So it's interesting because, and I forget where, but one part of the Hebrew Bible it says, no longer will you call me Baali, my Baal. You'll call me Adoni, my like Baal means like master, and Adon means Lord. Like it's the same word, but it's a contextual shift. Let me see if I can find something. Don't.
Just the only other obvious cognate would be Aten, the Egyptian.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find. Whatever. Wait, what is it we were talking about right before this?
The three, the Trinity, it's used later into Christianity as that being a manifestation of the Trinity.
In some ways, it almost sounds like they're trying to move away from the Phoenician pantheon with Baal and to a different one with more El Adonai. Hey.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's see. Oh, this should be good.
Well, with the plurality too, the thing with Elohim.
One of the greatest archaeologists of the generation in which I grew up, the 1960s and 70s, was William Foxwell Albright. He was perhaps the greatest of all American archaeologists. One of his books, one of the lesser known of his books, is called Yahweh, Gods of Canaan. And in this book, Yahweh is contrasted to the gods of the lands, not only the land of Canaan in which the Israelites were to live, the promised land, but also with the gods of Egypt, the land from which the Israelites came. And one of the points that Albright wants to make in Yahweh and the gods of Canaan is that the confusion of religion and life in Canaan was absolutely beyond belief. It was total. For instance, when he's talking about the impact of the gods upon their adherents in Canaan, he talks about the fact that in Phoenicia and Egypt, there was a shared tendency to use sister and wife synonymously. Kings like Akhenaten and Ramses II married one or more of their own daughters as late as the 14th and 13th centuries BC. Baal, who was the most popular god of Canaan, was closely associated with three goddesses who were his consorts or wives, and they were, by the way, two of them are mentioned, at least two that I can remember are mentioned in the Bible, Astarte and Ashtoreth. The other most famous of all his consorts or wives was Anat. Anat was not only Baal's virgin sister, but also his consort. While she was in the forum that is incarnated in a heifer, according to the myth of Canaan, Baal raped her an epic 77 or 88 times. His sister wife. You can imagine the impact that this kind of mythology has upon the imagination of the adherents. In Yahweh and the Gods of Canaan, Albright also talks about Anat's bloodlust. Listen to this. Anat, again, the foremost wife of Baal, was not surprisingly an extraordinarily cruel goddess, represented as having slaughtered mankind from the rising of the sun to the shore of the sea. Apparently the slaughter delighted her, since her heart rejoiced and her liver exulted over the massacre. This is exactly what it says in the poem of Anat. Beneath her were heads like balls. Above her were hands like locusts. She plunged her knees into the blood of warriors, her thighs into the blood of youths. This might remind some of the stories about the Hindu goddess Kali, also called Durga, and her bloodlust. Both goddesses, that is Anat as well as Kali, are represented as protecting and destroying at the same time. Their beneficent and destructive aspects complementing each other in a way that startles and shocks.
I was going with Hathor and the Nile Running Red.
Oh, maybe it's the same story that's used for two goddesses. Either that, or maybe I'm mixing the two up.
Or maybe we both are. I don't know. I was remembering it associated with Hathor, but I could be wrong.
I think it might be, though. It could also be one of those ones where you have parallels.
And again, or like the Sumerians, and where the Akkadians rewrote it, and then the Assyrians rewrote the Akkadians who had rewritten the Sumerians, and you sort of have a telephone story where the story's still the same, but the names have been changed to protect, I guess, the deposed gods. Tag.
Yeah, it's like the identities have been changed to protect their privacy. Obviously, I'm joking.
Their reactions rather of primitive man to the sharp contrasts of his environment. Anat, again, according to her myth, found the dead body of Baal, and in one tablet that's been published in the last 2 generations, it says, while Anat walked along lamenting the beauty of her brother,
wow,
how fair, the charm of her brother, how seemly, she devoured his flesh without a knife and drank his blood without a cup.
This almost, well, first of all, ate his flesh without a knife, drank his blood without a cup. Come on, it's pretty obvious where some of these motifs end up.
Osiris, Isis?
Oh, I mean, that I was, yeah, that's
she resurrected.
I was going to say, I thought you were
right, like Isis.
I thought you were reading an inversion of the Last Supper,
No,
sort of
yeah.
thing.
No, that's exactly where I'm going with that. But the first thing I thought of was Isis and Osiris, the idea of her finding the dead body of her brother husband.
Another one that was jumped. Oh, go ahead, Zero.
Well, the more generative capacity being in the female.
I was going to say,
it resurrects the male.
Another one that jumped out at me there was a connection between Anat and Tanith with the Carthaginians. Tag.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Also, I just had a kind of, like the stories where you have someone like a god or a goddess, and then they're impregnated. Usually it's by their brother or sister, and then it ends up being that, like, I mean, for instance, like, I'm trying to think. It's not like a perfect analogy, but it's almost like with how you have this idea of, like, God putting the seed in Mary, and then basically she's impregnated by God, and then she gives birth to God. Or like how you have, like, basically a god where they give, or a goddess where they give birth to their like to their spouse, and it almost seems like maybe this is like encoding in it, like the myth. What it's trying to say is that like there's a part of their lover that's in their child, but not I mean, you do have some really messed up stories, but like outside of that, it could just be this idea that like the likeness, and then you even have that idea like as very key, especially like in Christianity, that this idea that like Jesus has like the likeness of God in a way that like other humans don't compare. Some, you know what I mean? Like I mean the whole idea of the logos, like trying to think like how to.
I don't know. What seems to me that comes off with the scenario of Christ being born of Mary and God is the whole hybrid thing. Like Gilgamesh was supposed to be 2/3 God, 1/3 human.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also like thinking of like, I mean, it's not the same with Isis, Osiris, and Horus because like Horus isn't Osiris, but like I'm sure there are examples of gods where like their son, yeah, because you do have this idea that the son is the father, and I mean that's where Christianity gets the idea from, not the other way around. Which I mean,
Well, and
like,
then you have successions. You have succession where the grandson becomes the high god, takes over the throne.
oh yeah, like what is it? You have it with Eros, who like starts off as like the first, and then ends up becoming like given it's like a different Eros. It's not the same, but
El is El the son of all?
well, it's kind of like
Yahweh.
it's like the term Zeus. You have all these different Zeuses because Zeus literally just means God if you boil it down.
Well, it does carry
Yeah,
that high father concept as well. So
Yeah.
but I mean,
Anyway.
there's always this thing of a succession where a later god becomes the high god, and so then there's a tension created between the old order and the new, as far as the priesthoods.
Yeah, it's
And
almost
this
like
is
time
with
isn't
On
time.
and Enlil, On and Enlil in Samaria. And then you
But
have
yeah, it's almost like time isn't a thing in this. It's just like it's cyclical and it keeps going from one to the next, but it's not like one is necessarily before the other because it's all in the human mind.
but it's about which one becomes the center of power, the throne of rule, whereas the other might have been the progenitor, but it is no longer in control.
Interesting.
Apparently, she was carrying her gruesome burden as she devoured it. So such were the gods and goddesses of ancient Canaan. This is relevant because, of course, we're walking into a time now that excuses itself and its extremities and enormities, but somehow feels that the nation of Israel, in entering the promised land some 3,000 years ago, was guilty of genocide in exterminating the culture of Canaan. So we need to do some deep
They
thinking
didn't
about
exterminate them though.
what
They evolved.
ancient cultures were like and why and how the Israelites were so markedly different. One, they didn't believe in incest, which is very markedly not the case in Egypt as well as Canaan.
Are you
Second,
sure about that?
their God was not
somebody needed to
somehow
tell
tying
Abraham
together
about
the
that.
cults of
Yeah,
sex
incest light, and then Adam and
violence.
Eve was Eve.
Their God was not one who gloried in war, but rather was a God of peace. The key word of
Wait,
the Hebrew
what?
Old Testament, if you violence. Their God was not one who gloried in war, but rather was a God of peace. The key word of the Hebrew Old Testament, if you wanted to pick
Talk about cherry picking.
God washing.
one,
God is a God of peace, unless he's a God of righteous war. But still peace, huh?
I was going to say it wasn't like they were genocide to all of Canaan. It was only which was the one that they were, instructed to genocide. There was only the one people.
Amalekites.
Yeah, the Amalekites.
You could probably not do better than the word
But yeah,
shalom,
it's like
which was
God
not just
watching.
peace as absence of war, but was also well-being. Israel was not encouraged to glory in blood nor in sex. Sex was part of the covenantal relationship between man and woman, which itself mirrored the loyalty and unity of God and his faithful covenant relationship with Israel. So that's Albright, William Foxwell Albright, Yahweh and the gods of Canaan. Thanks.
So
Yeah.
the marriage
It doesn't take much.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
marriage of the patriarchs, wasn't it pretty much always to be a cousin? They were always sent out to find their cousin. It wasn't
Yeah.
the brother sister, but it was always had to be a cousin.
Well, early on, it always had to be some woman from Haran. Tag.
Yeah. I still think it's really fascinating that, Abraham's brother, Haran, has nothing to do with Haran, apparently. But I still don't buy that. I feel like there's something to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
with
like
you.
named after the place, but yeah, but it also probably like a grandson, keep the name in the family. But I mean, with Adam and Eve, as far as the incest thing, would Eve have been Adam's daughter or his sister?
Um.
She
So
wasn't. She was of his flesh, so
no, not his flesh. Not well. I mean, in the same way
the
that he
rib.
was of hers, because neither like Adam didn't come before Eve. Like Ha-Adam came before both Adam and Eve. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, the beast with two faces and one back.
I wouldn't call it a beast, but like
Well, it's a different,
The divine androgyne, to use the technical term.
Yeah. Oh, by the way. Oh,
So Adam
yeah.
didn't really exist until Eve existed. You're saying?
I mean, they both existed, but they existed in the androgyne.
And so, but then she Eve is what's comes forth, has a different name. Seems like if it was, I mean, I think I know what you're drawing from, but then there would have been two beings to be mentioned as the succession from that.
What do you mean?
If it's, well, Adam and then Eve. So if Adam is the androgyne, then Adam is the hermaphrodite and Eve is the female, and therefore
No.
there's not really a male.
No. There's Ha-Adam, which is the human, and then there's Adam.
But the rib is coming from a full figure.
It's coming from a spiritual figure. I think it's coming from, again, I tend to think of it as Adam Kadmon. But yeah, it's basically the difference between a spiritual Adam and a physical Adam.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong, but in any case, the second creation still has the creation of the Adam from Earth, and then is split into two. So, like, are you talking about the spiritual one being Genesis 1 or Genesis 2?
Well, if you're talking about a rib, you're talking about a body.
No, I'm asking Graham.
Yeah.
Kind of a combination of two, sort of the other one. Again, one of the interesting interpretations for the whole rib idea is the idea that that's the X chromosome. And basically, the two ribs are the two chromosomes, the Y chromosome and the X chromosome in Adam, and separated out the X chromosome, doubled it, and created Eve that way. And that's the way that Eve was created from Adam's rib. Again, I like the pluriform interpretation. That one I kind of find interesting. Tag.
So basically, like, there's two main interpretations. One is that obviously that it means rib, but literally it means side. So here's like my thought experiment. Say you have a ball of dough. You're making bread and you have a ball of dough. Or it could also be a lump of clay, like Usal was saying. By the way, Shavua Tov. So say you have a lump of clay. You have one ball of clay. If you were to cut that into two, you separate a side from it. Which side is being separated from which?
Yeah, the origin of it is the goddess Ninti, and I believe what's the title for Eden that comes from the term Ninti.
The mother of all life.
Mm-hmm. The lady of life, I think.
Oh yeah, Rabat Chavat. But like my point though is
like, I think, I don't know if T is the same term for rib.
Yeah, so I mean, like
but
it's definitely a syncretism, but like if you were to just look at it grammatically without the looking at it as rib, if Usal said Inlil's consort, but my point is, if you have one lump of clay and you cut it into directly down the middle, so you have two halves now. Which one was separated from which? Like, is that, I mean, is there
like the use of talking about chromosomes? That's a later understanding that's being put on this original narrative. It's trying to reform it to fit current understanding. But yeah, there's a single substance, but I mean, it is not described like life came from a single cell organism situation, then compound, multicellular, reproduced asexually for millions of years before the dual genders developed. And that's not what's described in the tradition.
No,
just as two of every kind in the ark is lacking the understanding of a different form of reproduction than through dual genders. So it can be reformed.
I'm just bear with me here though. If you have one piece of dough and you cut it in two directly down the middle, which piece was separated from which?
Well, it's mainly the sense of the original mass and a smaller mass, like a gnocchi as opposed to a loaf. The diminutive always put on the female. But I mean, there's meaning in there. Where does the male go? So you have this. You're saying Adam, or I guess a broader phrase, it represents both genders. Eve represents the one gender, and so what is the?
So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Adam is not the same as Ha-Adam. Ha-Adam is the human. Adam is Adam. They're two different concepts.
My answer to your puzzle, Ariel, is both of the subsequent pieces are separated from the original piece. You have to compare it via generations. You can't compare the two basically child pieces from the parent piece. The two child pieces are basically kind of interchangeable, is the point you're making. Tag.
Basically, yeah. And so, like, it almost makes me wonder, like, why is it that Adam had to go to sleep, or why the Adam had to go to sleep before being separated, because like, I mean, given like, yeah, you could argue so that you wouldn't have to feel pain, but like if this is before the fall, then like technically there wouldn't have been any issue. And so it almost seems like the going to sleep is, in essence, it's killing the Adam and it's creating both Adam and Eve out of the, like, it's almost like how like a reverse, rather than killing something and then separating it, you're separating it and in the process killing it, almost like how Marduk splits Tiamat into the heavens and the waters, I think.
Well, that's one of the oldest mythological motifs, is the idea of one god slaying another and then like creating out of the remains. Tag.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of at least what I get from it. But well, let's go back to this. Let's see. So let's see, where are we at? Oh yeah. Okay, there. Ve'ekha pat lechem, and I will get for you. Actually, no, I will get pat lechem, like pat. It's the same root as pita. It's like a loaf, or like a slice, not a slice, but like a thing of bread. Ve'sa'adu, and feed. Oh, and sustain libchem. So that it may sustain your, in the context of this, probably bellies, but like your yeah, I mean basically your innards, so that you can sustain your innards. And after Ta'avru, what is this? After you pass Ki Alken, this is strange. They have come your servant's way. After you have crossed over to, I don't know, it's a weird translation. Al avdechem, to your servant. And what's interesting is, in all these cases, all these are plural, so it's like referring to even though like generally you would just refer to God in the singular, because it's like, so I feel like that's probably also another reason why Christians do read the Trinity into that, because I mean I think that it's kind of missing the point, because this is like potentially even more than that, like but like, I mean, in my mind, this could go back all the way to the idea of like, like, what is it? Not trinities, but what is it, like? I mean, you had them in Rome and in Greece, how the triads, like the Capitoline triad, but it's yeah. Kielken, and say, they're seeing that you have come your servant's way. They replied, "Do as you have said." It doesn't make sense to me personally, but
So
yeah.
So the Yahweh describes himself as a jealous God, and to not worship any of the other gods doesn't. So it acknowledges that there are other gods, and so the whole polytheism that's evident at like Elephantine, the earlier accounts that don't seem to include some of the things that get codified in to the Torah. Stories of Moses and stuff didn't exist. They had the Passover like tradition, but some of the other things come in later. And the way El, comes out of a pantheon, Yahweh is a son of God. It
Mm-hmm.
seems to be this transitional point between the polytheism and developing more of an idea of unified Godhead, which the like Thales and early Greek philosophers that were charged with atheism because they posited a single source of all the other gods.
Interesting, yeah. Vaymaher Avraham, and Abraham hurried ha'ohelah to the tent, El Sarah to Sarah. Vayomer Mahari Shlosh, and said, "Hurry, 3 seahs kemach of flour, solet lushi." What is this? Oh, kemach solet, fine flour, lushi ve'ashi. Oh, wait, lushi ve'asi. Lush, need. What is it? Lushi ve'asi. I think it would be like need it for me, but it might just be need it. Knead it and make it. Make cakes. Ugot. Ve'el ha-bakar. Ve'el bakar ratz Avraham, and to the cattle, or to the herd, Abraham ran. Vayikach ben bakar, and he took the child of a cattle, or of a cow, so a calf, rach vatov, tender and good, delicate, vayiten el hanar, and he gave it to the youth, or servant boy, vayimaher lasot oto, who hurried to prepare it. Vayikach chema v'chalav, and he took curds and milk, uben habakar, and the calf, asher asa vayiten lifnehem, and the calf that was prepared, and he gave it, he offered it before their presence. And Vehu omed alehem, and he stood alehem, before them. Tachat ha'etz vayochelu, beneath the tree, and they ate. Vayomru elav Ea Sarah, and they said to him, "Where is Sarah, Ishtecha, your wife?" Vayomer hine ba'ohel, and he said, "She is in behold, or there, she is in the tent." Vayomer shov shuv. Okay, this is interesting. So here it says, then one said, but Vayomer Shov Vayomru. Oh, it's because it's now it's in the singular tense. So this is like, it's almost like the other. I mean, I don't know how would you read it that now it's in the singular. Like before it's them. See, here it's Vayomru. Here it's just Vayomer, which is singular.
Yeah, it's getting rid of the pluralism into a single, toward dogma, toward a narrowed down concept, I would think.
Also, yeah, Usos and Triune and henotheism, which definitely describes it, more because it wasn't quite monotheism or polytheism, but like worship of one while recognizing others were there. All right, let's see. So Vayomer Shuva Shuva Lecha, and he said, I will certainly return Alecha, upon you, or to you, Ka'et Chaya, at the time, Wait, Ke'et? Yeah, like the time, chaya, of like the lifetime. I don't know how they're getting a year from this. The time of life, v'hine ben, and behold, the son, l'Sarah will for Sarah, Ishtecha, your wife, v'Sara shoma'at, and Sarah was listening, petach ha'ohel, at the entrance of the tent, v'hu acharav, which was behind him. That's strange, but let's see, where is it here? Commentary.
So time of life, as in maybe time of birth.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, like that they'll return when. Okay.
And so is this is the speaking to the three, but maybe the one. The three arrive, but then the one is speaking as far as going from the multiple to singular.
So, well, here it says Ke'et Chaya. According to Rashi, seeing that the letter in the word Ke'et does not have the vowel Shava under it, but the vowel Kametz. Oh, the prediction does not refer to at the same season. Wait. Ka'et. So, Ka'et instead of Ke'et. I don't know where it's going there, but sorry, you were saying?
What element is time? I'm thinking of the et as far as the beginning and the end of the.
No, this is with an ayin. It means season or time.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm looking at the story structure here, and I'm sitting there and saying, okay, the one is taking Abram off to talk to him, while the other two are getting busy with Sarah, and then come back next year and have the kid. Yep. I'm trying to simplify things,
They just got their mouths full of the meat.
Okay. Here, I found something. So, shuva, I will certainly return. The reason the angel repeated the word shuv and added the words v'hine, maybe better, which means and behold, may be better understood on the basis of a tradition that when Isaac was born, he suffered from a congenital defect. He was sterile. It was only after agreeing to be sacrificed at the Akedah, or the binding of Isaac, that he was cured of that defect. The angel hinted that he would have to return twice, Ke'et Chaya, at a time when he would give life, in order that Sarah's son would be a true son, able to procreate. The words V'hine ben l'Sarah indicate that Sarah's son emanated from the left side of the emanations, the female weaker side. Wow. That's not nice. The words V'hine emphasizes the origin of Isaac and Sarah's domain. Only when the angel would return once more would the male component, i.e. Abraham's input, become dominant within Isaac. It almost seems like it's saying that Abraham wasn't his dad.
Well, it's interestingly also the withholdance of the fertility. It's like a undoing of vasectomy in both cases.
Well, I missed that episode of Maury. I didn't hear the results of the DNA test. Okay.
Let's see. This occurred in Genesis 22:11, where the Torah reports that an angel called out to Abraham not to harm Isaac. The angel therefore had two tasks to perform. To announce that there would be an Isaac, that he would possess a soul that could procreate. The reason that God had to do this was related to Abraham's prayer on behalf of Ishmael in 1719. I've written about that subject at the time. Other meanings of the word l'Sarah ben, that Sarah would by then have a son, is to tell us the son, male issue, is dependent on the female element being predominant, whereas daughters are the result of a preponderant male element during marital union. We know this from Nida 31, based on Leviticus 12:2. The angel prophesied that the physical union of Abraham and Sarah, which would result in her impregnation, would correspond to the rules laid down or hinted at in Leviticus 12:2. It's in the name of Rabbi Yitzchak, that the sex of the embryo is determined in accordance with whose orgasm occurs first. If the male, if the male,
wait a minute. Where? I mean, is there actual? These are just kind of injected assertions, aren't they? I mean, is there real basis?
here I could pull it up.
I mean, I could see that that's in some of the
12:2.
later
All right.
commentary. The thing is, there's unanswered questions in the original text, so they come around later and explain it.
Yeah, I mean it's commentary, like it's but it's based on speak to the Israelite people thus: when a woman at childbirth bears a male, she shall be impure 7 days. She shall be impure at the time of her condition of. Yeah, I don't know how that, but let's see. Wait, where is it? Nida 31. Dang it. Oh wait, here. Wait, I can just find it here. Commentary. Wait, no, it'd be Talmud. Nida. Wait. Midrash maybe. Wait. Ishna maybe. Nida here. Let's see. It said Nida 31. Ah, shoot. Okay, here I'll just Mishnah Nida. Open. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, here. 31. Wait. Wait, what? This must not be the right one. Oh, wait. It's because I can't see it all at once. 31. Here, I'm just going to open up an extra tab real quick.
And is this heading toward why Isaac would be barren?
All right, here I found it. Potentially. All right, so what is the verse from which is derived that Phoenix is administered an oath from on the day of its birth? Upon you I have relied from birth. You are he who took me out, Gozi, of my mother's womb. From what? Wait, okay, what? Wait, oh, 2. Wait, is it? Wait, is this? It was Nida 31. So, let's see. Okay, here. The Gemara asks, what is different about the... Wait, no, it's not here. Wait, what? Wait, where was it? Sorry, this is like so far off. Okay, this is interesting. So, the sages taught there are 3 partners in the creation of a person: the Holy One, blessed be He, and his father and his mother. His father emits the white seed from which the following body parts are formed: the bones, the sinews, the nails, the brains that is in the head, and the white of the eye. His mother emits the red seed from which are formed the skin, the flesh, the hair, and the black of the eye. And the Holy One, blessed be He, inserts into him a spirit, a soul, his countenance, ukelaster. That definitely sounds like it's derived from Greek. Eyesight, hearing of the ear, the capability of the speech of the mouth, the capability of walking with the legs, understanding and wisdom.
Yeah, that sounds like some Mithraic dualism.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Listen to this. And when a person's time to depart from the world arrives, the Holy One, blessed be he, retrieves his part, and he leaves the part of the person's father and mother before them. Rav Papa said, this is in accordance with the adage that people say, remove the salt from a piece of meat, and you may then toss the meat to a dog as it has become worthless. That's like as the connection to like the dog as well seems very Mithraic.
Yeah, the good animals and the bad animals.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
Dualism.
And
it's sort of Taoist Kabbalic in the sense of the male and the female aspects of the one being.
Yeah.
They had a sense of the sperm, and they talk about the white seed, and then female is the red seed, as the skin, and so it's in the black of the eye. I mean,
interesting.
If the later commentary adds explanation on things, then there could be some update from, like, the University of Israel on their biology department.
Oh, here, I found it. Wait, what? And this statement is the same as which Rabbi Yochanan said, what is the meaning of that which is written with regard to Leah's conceiving Yisachar? And he lay with her that night. The verse teaches that the Holy One, blessed be he, contributed to the act. The manner in which God contributed to this act is derived from another verse, as it is stated. Yisachar is a large-boned garam donkey. This teaches that God directed Jacob's donkey towards Leah's tent so that he would engage in intercourse with her, thereby causing Garam, Leah's conceiving Yisachar. What is this implying?
Donkey bone? What?
I had no idea Leah was involved in a donkey show. I had no idea.
Oh my God, we're burning in hell. And Jews don't even believe in hell. Oh my, is there any commentary on this? What is the commentary on this, dear Lord?
Help us, save us.
I'm still not clear on why Isaac would not be able to reproduce until offered for sacrifice.
Wait, sorry, what?
Still not clear on why Isaac wouldn't be able to reproduce until he'd been offered for sacrifice. Some kind of a second pass by the angels.
Honestly, like, I mean, one of the things is that because the act, basically the act of violence, even though it didn't occur, it was basically he had too much chesed but not enough gevura, and so this caused him to be more masculine than feminine. But there's some traditions that Isaac was actually born with with a female soul.
I'm grasping for straws here, but there could be a connection between the idea of the sacrifice, the cutting, and circumcision, because Isaac was about the right age for a bar mitzvah, and that needs to happen before he can have kids. And again, now you're echoing back to subincision that the Australians practice and things like that. So let's just stop there and hope that Ari will find something to salvage us that some rabbi came up with. Hey.
So, okay, this is interesting. So here this says, so Rabbi Yitzchak says that Rabbi Ami says the sex of a fetus is determined at the moment of conception. If the woman emits seed first, in other words, you can fill in the blanks, she gives birth to a male. And if the man emits seed first, she gives birth to a female. As it is stated, if a woman bears seed and gives birth to a man. Oh, okay, so here's what it is. So going back to this, Leviticus 12. Speak to the Israelite thence. When or if a woman at childbirth bears a male, literally when a woman bears a male, what it's saying there is that because she's bearing the male, they're, I guess, deriving from this that when she bears a female, it's because of them. It doesn't. Oh no, because it's that. Okay, so I think it's no. Okay, so here's what it is. It's referring here when it says if the man emits seed first, she gives birth to a female, as it is stated. If a woman bears seed, here it's referring to the seed as like essentially the moment of conception, rather than like bearing it being giving birth, if that makes sense. So here they're literally deriving it to be the seed, not the fruit, if that makes any sense. The seed of the womb, not the fruit.
That's the most I've ever heard to say that, the woman's got to come first. Anything relating to biblical.
The sages taught at first people would say that if the woman emits seed first, she gives birth to a male, and if the man emits seed first, she gives birth to a female. But the sages did not explain from which verse this matter is derived until Rabbi Tzadok came and explained that it is derived from the following verse. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram with his daughter Dinah. From the fact that the verse attributes the males to the females, as the males are called the sons of Leah, and it attributes the females to the males, in that Dinah is called his daughter, it is derived that if the woman emits seed first, she gives birth to a male, whereas if the man emits seed first, she bears a female. Interesting. The statement is also derived from the following verse. And the sons of Ulam were mighty men of valor, archers, and had many sons and sons. Is it in a person's power to have many sons and sons, rather because they delay while in their wives' abdomen, initially refraining from emitting seed so that their wives will emit seed first in order that their children will be male? In other words, holy shit. So basically this is saying that put women first so that you can have more sons. So even within what seems like a feminist idea, it's actually in order to have more sons.
Yeah, well, it's the feminist idea embedded in the patriarchal thing that it is the son who will inherit, not the daughter, not the firstborn daughter. That doesn't mean anything, but the firstborn son. And so if you want to have a son, you're going to have to hold back a few times, like tantric and like the Taoists.
Yeah.
They had a ring for that effect.
Interesting. The verse describes them credit as though they have many sons and sons, and this statement is the same as which Rav Katina said, I could have made all my children males by refraining from emitting seed until my wife emitted seed first. Rava says another method through which one can cause his children to be males. One who wishes to make all of his children males should engage in intercourse with his wife and repeat the act. And Rabbi Yitzchak said that Rabbi Ami says a woman becomes pregnant only by engaging in intercourse close to the onset of her menstrual cycle, as is stated, behold, I was brought forth in iniquity. This iniquity is referring to intercourse close to the woman's menstrual cycle when intercourse is prohibited. Accordingly, David is saying that his mother presumably conceived him at this time.
So that lines up with the red seed idea, the menstrual preceding.
These rabbis just sound like they're talking out their ass. I'm sorry, Tag.
No, but they say it goes all the way back to Moses. Or are you calling them liars?
No, that they can entirely believe what they're saying is true, and it can be wrong. Tag.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's see. Get back to
generally, the scenario is that right after menstruation is the time to have sex in order to not get pregnant. But
interesting, and that's the whole thing, because the point was to get pregnant, not to not. All right, let's see. So
could matter how quickly they're emitting an ovum after shedding menses.
So let's see. So I will return upon you like this season. Chaya, I don't know, like this living season. I don't know what the context. V'hine ben, and behold, a son will be born to Sarah, Ishtaka, your wife, and Sarah Shomat. Yeah, she heard it. Okay, I read that. Abraham. Yeah. Wait, what?
Pregnancy is a living season. 9 months.
Oh, maybe the time of birth, the time of life, the season of life. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Abraham Sarah is Kenim, but Abraham and Sarah were were elders, bayim bayamim, advanced in their years or in their days, chadal lehiot, chadal lehiot lasara orach, lehiot, be to be, like the cessation or for orach kanashim, the way like women, or like the womanly way for Sarah had stopped coming, or had stopped being. So like she
Menopause.
menopause. Orach kanashim, the way of women. Oh, I translated it well. The periods of women, perhaps in light of Akkadian archu month, literally meaning men. Oh, interesting. So it's like derived from that same thing, which would mean like basically menses. Vatitzchak Sarah, but Sarah wait, I said yeah. But Sarah laughed. Bikirba leomer, like Bikirba in her midst, like to herself. Lomer achare bilot biloti achare biloti, after I biloti bilti, after I have become old, haitali, I will have Edna, like Ednali, am I to have delight? The Adoni Zaken, while my like Lord, but like in this context, husband is old. Vayomer Adonai El Avraham, and Yahweh said to Abraham, Lama ze tzachaka Sarah. Why is Sarah laughing? Sarah lomer ha'af umnam eled ve'ani zakanti. Sarah said ha'af umna, like ha'af not, also umna in, also truly, like do you really eled, am I really going to give birth va'ani zakanti, as like while I am this old? Hipale hayipale me'adonai dvar lemoed ashuv alecha ke'et chaya ulesara ben. What is this? Haifla. Is there anything wondrous from God? Dvar lemoed. Like, is any appointment, like any appointed thing too wondrous for God? Ashuv alech, I will return to you in the season of life, and for Sarah will have a son. Vatchachesh Sarah leomer lo tzachakti ki yira vayomer lo ki tzachakt. Sarah was deceitful, or Sarah lied. Leomer, saying, I did not laugh because I was frightened. Wait, I did not laugh. Oh, she said I did not laugh because she was frightened. And Vayomer lo, and was said no because you laughed. It doesn't make sense to me, but
So that season of life term, what is that? Is that with the l'chaim thing?
what do you mean?
What's the phrase? Season of life.
Ka'et chaya.
L'chaim. So, we've talked about that possibly being the pregnancy season of 9 months, but could it also mean like spring?
It's possible. I mean, that's I guess another way to look at it. I'd have to look into any ways the terms used, but I'm not sure off the top of my head.
But there's probably no relation to the word for spring. Isn't that like Aviva or something?
Oh, okay. We've got some interesting comments. Let's see.
I was gonna say I can't see the comments until you put them up.
So Usal said, "I'm doing things and can't talk, but the year is from the agricultural season." It just reminded me of the Green Knight tale. He was the son of a king and Sarah. I feel like I might be missing context. The sages emphasized that Abraham and Isaac look so alike because they knew there is a good chance Sarah was impregnated by Pharaoh. Wait, what? Oh.
And Abimelech, yeah.
Well, no, the Pharaoh, not.
But Abimelech had to go too, didn't he?
Maybe because it happened twice. Maybe, I'm not sure. Not they. I'm not wearing my glasses. Hey, I know. So good morning. Flowers. Issachar is a large bone donkey. Donkey bone equals the love bone. So it's best to satisfy your wife if you want a son. Am I reading that right? Oh, so face green smiling. That's how I was taking it, Usal. What if they both do it at the same time? Oh, maybe that's what. Actually, maybe that's what's implied by the fact that Isaac was like said to not be like completely a son, or like that. Like it almost seems like I don't know. They'd be
intersex.
Mm-hmm. The best hermaphrodite, parting the Red Sea, face green smiling. Oh boy. The ectoderm gives rise to the skin of the nervous system. The mesoderm specifies the bone, muscle, and tissue. The endoderm layer becomes the lining of the digestive and respiratory system, liver. Interesting. I wonder if that like corresponds with what.
Yeah, it goes with what they were saying earlier about the skin and at least somewhat.
It's Nidal laws that make some women practically infertile. Oh, because they can't have. Oh, interesting. I've noticed parts of the Old Testament seem like they're laying out rules about sex, like the part with Baal Peor and the Midianite whores. Usal says we don't say New Testament, Old Testament here. Oh, Senior Testament LL and Testament Junior. Hebrew Bible or Tanakh. I don't see the point. Is it to separate it from the new? It's because we don't consider it old as opposed to new. Like we think that it has like that it's eternal. Orion has sex with Gaia with star Hatisa or Hatus at 30 degrees north latitude. Alula becomes a midheaven star, meaning firstborn, first in December. Then 6,606 hours later in December, the time at both is off by 7 hours. There are implications wrapped in that title. I was confused. I meant Abimelech. I imply a lot of things. 100. Got it, Ariel. All right, cool. Now we're caught up. So, okay, this is interesting. So, Vayakumu Misham Ha'anashim. So here it translates it as agents, literally other participants whose involvement defines the depicted situation. It just feels very, I don't know. Anyway, Vayakumu Misham, and the men or the persons rose from there, or set out from there. Vayashkifu shakaf, and they looked out al pnei Sodom, over the face of Sodom. The Avraham holech imam, and Abraham walked with them. Lishalcham, walked with them to send them, or like send them off. V'Adonai Amar ha-machseh, and Yahweh said, or had said rather, I will conceal, hamkaseh ani, I will conceal, or hamchaseh rather, I will conceal from Avraham, from Abraham, ani asher ani oseh, what I am going to do. I will conceal. I will conceal from Abraham what I am going to do. V'Avraham hayu yihye legoy gadol, and Abraham was going to be, and Abraham is going to be a great great nation. Ve'atzum, a great and vast, or mighty nation. V'nivrachu bo, kol goyei haaretz, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed in him. Ki yadatav lema'an asher yitzaveh, because I have caused I have caused him to know, lema'an asher yitzaveh, so that, or for the purpose that yitzaveh, that he will instruct or command at banav, his children, ve'et beito, and his house. Okay, that's interesting, because beito, his house. So if I look in the commentary, it's going to tell me beito means his daughters and banav means his sons. I would bet money on this. Let's see.
Of Abraham?
Yeah. Let's see. In order that he will command his sons and the members of his household, he should point out to them that unless they follow their... Okay, wait. It doesn't talk about there. Maybe...
You said when the men got up to go, the term for them was man?
1 second. Okay, here. Let's see. Does it say it here? Okay. Let's see. Come on. Does it say it? Oh no. Here it's interpreting Beito to be the members of his household who were not biologically related. Dang it.
Because he doesn't have any sons yet. Is it talking about the future?
Yeah, it is the future. I'm just trying to see if it has Banov. Dang it, yeah, it seems like they didn't interpret it that way. Because no, it's Beit Yaakov where they start referring to it that way. All right.
So when the three got up to go, you said men.
Well, I mean, the word is anashim, literally people or persons.
Sure.
Let's see. For I have caused him to know, for the purpose that he will command or instruct his sons and his children and his house after him, and they will protect, or they will guard derech. They will protect the way of the Lord. La'asot tzedakah, to do righteousness. Umishpat lema'an and lema'an havi Adonai, and to judge according to Havi Adonai, the that may be,
The Lord's.
Yeah, I'm just in order that the Lord may pass upon Abraham and that which he has spoken upon him, in order that Yahweh may bring about for Abraham what has been promised him. Okay, that was close. Vayomer Adonai za'akat stom ve'amora ki rabba ve'chatotam ki kavda me'od. And Yahweh said to Zakta Stom, the outrage of Stom. Wait, how's this translated? The cry, the outcry of Sodom, the Amorah or Gomorrah. Interestingly, so it's the same with Gaza. So it's, you say Gaza, but in Hebrew, as well as like if you actually look, it's, even though it's like Gaza, it's actually Aza, or, well, not like actually. I mean, it's both Gaza or Aza, but the point is it's spelled with a A, but it's pronounced Ga, and it's called a Gai, and it's like not antiquated. I think it's really interesting, but basically it's a way that ayins can actually sound like Ga, so that's why Amorah is Gamorah. But so Sodom and Gomorrah, because their sins are great, and very heavy indeed. So let's see. What does it talk about? Here, I need a tiny break. So in the meantime,
So these three figures have always been referred to as persons, not a term for angel.
No, the word for angel is never used. It's like this word anashim is literally how you refer to humans. Well, not like as human, but just like, oh, hey, look, there's three people. It's literally just people. But what's interesting is that word people are, multiple of person. Person is actually derived from, I think it's Etruscan, but it means like a mask or like a persona, like a character that you're playing.
But is it neutral, not male or female?
I mean, because it's on Ashim, it's not female, but it's also, it could be a mix, or it's also what you would use if it was indeterminate. So like if you're just referring like in the basically it's a standard, like if you were to say plural, but it's also like a male dominant language in that sense. So if there's even one man in a group of women, it turns it into like what would be considered like the male plural, even though it's also neutral.
But with the Kabbalic, is it considered like three pillars, or the two sides, the masculine, the feminine, and the middle?
Yeah, the middle would probably be like the balance between them.
But that's another kind of representation that, I mean, Kabbalists could certainly go off of with those three figures. Yeah. But he refers to them as Adonai, as in Lord's plural.
Yeah.
And is that necessarily male?
Or
leader, rather than.
I mean,
lady.
I mean, not explicitly, like it. But like for instance, like you have Baal and then you have Baalat. So I mean, technically you have Adon. You could also have like Adonat or Adonit, but but I mean, it might be something to look a bit more into later. I can't really think that high level right now.
Yeah, it's just that we've been dealing with this whole scenario of male, female, hermaphrodite. Also with the donkey bone thing, what is it? Is it a mule that's unable to reproduce, that is the offspring of an ass and a horse? I don't know anything on that, Graham.
Yeah, it's donkey and horse, and it's the mule that can't reproduce.
But they're not talking about a mule in relation to Isaac. They're talking about a donkey.
Oh no, I think I'm. Wait, no, that was in the context of that was something else, not about Isaac.
Yeah, that was with Leia. Leia was involved with the donkey tag.
Wait, let's see, what's this?
Hmm.
In Irish, McCall means echo, Mac means sun, Allah is the dying and rising like Damu, the son of Populus. Like, I feel like I'm. What is this? Sagittarius, the only white noble centaur Chiron who taught Asclepius first physician in medicine. White horse of I'm too tired for this. You'll have to. Oh, this is interesting. In Hebrew, Bakol means echo, the daughter's voice or voice of God. Yeah. Wait, where was it? Oh, right. We're almost to that point. So, where is this? Okay. Vayomer Adonai. Oh, wait, no, I read that as well. Erdana. I will go down, or now I will go down, or ve'er'eh, and I will see. So this is it's funny because it's erda ve'er'eh. It's like very like it's only one letter off, so it's very clearly like it's a play on words. So I will go down and I will see, almost like vene vidi vici. But I will go down and I will see haksata. I will see the outcries. I will see, I will see what like as the outcries haba come. I will go down and see whether they have acted. This is a weird translation. I will see if the outcries have come. Eli for me, asu kala. They make kala. What? Wait, what? To see if they will do and accomplish, and if not, da'a. I will know. Uyifnu misham. Ufni. Vayifnu misham ha'anashim. Vayelchu. And the people or the persons turned from there and they walked to Stom, or they went to Stom, or Stoma to Stom. The Avraham Odenu. But Abraham Odenu Aden Odenu. Oh, stay like was still with them. Omed lifnei Adonai, standing in the presence of Adonai. Vayigash Avraham Vayomer, and Abraham Yigash drew forward Vayomer Ha'af and said Ha'af tispe tzadik im rasha. Will you truly tispe sweep away the righteous tzaddik im rasha with the wicked? Ulayesh chamishim tzaddikim betoch ha'ir. And what if there is 50 righteous ones in the midst of the city? Ha'af tispe velo tisa lamakom. Will you surely sweep them away and not tisa lift up to the place lema'an chamishim? Will you not lift up the place or like uplift the place on account of the 50 righteous ones that are in her midst, like the city's midst? Chalila lecha ma'asot. What is this? Chalila. Oh, like forbid or far be it for yourself me'asot to do such. To do this, kadavar has to do such a thing, lehamit tzaddik to cause the righteous to die, im rasha with the wicked, v'haya kat tzaddik, and that it'll be like the righteous. It'll be like the righteous, karasha, like the way. It'll be the same like the righteous for like the wicked. Chalila lecha, far be it from you. Hashofet kol haaretz. Far be it for you who judges the entire earth. Lo ya'aseh mishpat. Far be it from shall not the judge. Will you not do? Lo yaseh mishpat. Oh, will you not do judgment? Like, will you not judge properly? Vayomer Adonai im emtsa bistom chamishim tzadikim b'toch ha'ir v'na'asati l'chol hamakom be'avuram. And Yahweh said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous ones in the midst of the city, then I will uplift the entire place, ba'avuram, on their accounts, or for their sake. Vaya'an Avraham vayomer hine na, ya'an what is this? And Anna. And Abraham answered, Vayomer hine, and he said, behold, na ho'alti ledavar el. What's this? Behold now ho'alti. What is this? Oh wait. Alti. I begin or undertake ledaver, to speak el Adonai, to speak to my lords, ve'anochi afar, but I am but dust, ve'efer, and ashes. Ulai yachasurun chamishim, and but what if yachasurun chamishim hatzadikim? What if there's a lacking of 50 righteous ones? Chamisha hatashchit. What if the 50 are lacking 5? Will hatashchit bachamisha? Will you destroy? Was this on account of the 5? Et kol ha'ir. Will you destroy the whole city because of the 5? The missing 5. Vayomer lo ashchit. And he said, no, I will. Said, I will not destroy if I find there arbaim v'chamisha. If I find 45. Any thoughts so far?
It's similar to Moses arguing with Yahweh on the mountain about striking down the cult of the calf. Kind of a bargaining.
Interesting parallel.
Yeah, I was going to say, it struck out to me as, Abraham's negotiating ability. And again, parallels with what 𝐤𝐳 mentioned, and also with Muhammad negotiating with Allah over how many times per day they have to pray. Very similar pattern. Tag.
I don't think he was as good of a bargainer as Abraham. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to pray 5 times a day.
Yeah, Abraham lost the whole city. So, again, isn't that a whole which one's the better negotiator, why we're fighting the war right now? Tag.
I was going to say, it's very much about, how much collateral damage.
True. Oof.
If you're lucky, you have a cool uncle. Like, he's always looking out for you. Maybe at Hanukkah, he gives you the video game system your parents would never buy you. Maybe he tells your parents they should let you stay up extra late. Maybe he takes you to movies you're not really supposed to see. That's the kind of uncle we're talking about. you. Maybe he tells your parents they should let you stay up extra late. Maybe he takes you to movies you're not really supposed to see. That's the kind of uncle we're talking about. Abraham was that kind of uncle. At this point in Torah, Abraham is 99 years old. His wife, Sarah, is 90 years old. And they have no children. Not yet. But
oh. I know where you want. Oh.
The naughty uncle is the way I've characterized Donald. The way people, he'll buy you your first drink or prostitute.
Since they don't have kids of their own,
mom is the nanny.
Yeah, I'll
make you do right.
He'll take you to Sodom.
They really adore their nephew, Lot. When Lot was young, they traveled with him, herded sheep with him, and probably, ate and drank and danced with him. But as Lot got older, his herd got so big that he had to move a few towns over to the town of Sodom. But Abraham and Sarah stayed in touch because they loved Lot a lot. But Abraham and Sarah that he had to move a few towns over to the town of Sodom. But Abraham big that he had to move a few towns over to the town of Sodom. But Abraham and Sarah stayed in touch because they loved Lot a lot. But then Abraham got some bad news. God had been checking in on two nearby towns.
Okay, that's interesting because, holy crap. Graham, I think you're going to have some thoughts on this. Have any of you all heard that Abram's father, Terach, is the moon god Erach, or Yarich? That actually makes a lot of sense because Yarech literally means moon, and who was the god of Haran, where they ended up.
Yeah, god of Haran is Nana or Sin.
Sin, yeah.
With that Sumerian connection, yeah.
The Ugaritic moon god they named Yeracho after Yericho, the moon city. Yeah. Yeah, you have Yerech, and then it's literally derived from that same root, Yericho.
I was unaware of connections between Ugarit and Jericho, but that makes sense.
Well, I mean, you have to keep in mind Yerech was not just worshipped in Ugarit, but throughout all of Canaan, which includes Ugarit.
And God did not like what God saw. There were wicked people in those towns, drinking too much wine, making mischief, stealing, mistreating their animals, abusing their families. The outrage of Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, God told Abraham. Abraham knew what God was saying. If the people in Sodom didn't change, God would destroy the city along with everyone inside it. Abraham must have known that his nephew, Lot, would be killed along with Lot's whole family. But this wasn't fair. What if Lot was just hanging out with his wife and daughters? Why should they all be killed because their neighbors were behaving badly? So Abraham
I would just like to point out that actually, hold on, this would be some good comic relief. But I would just like to point out that, Lot wasn't blameless. By no means was he. Seriously, by no.
Offers up his daughters, right?
Yeah. Let's see. If I can.
I was going to say, Lot wasn't guilty of that yet. That was after the fact.
What do you mean he wasn't guilty?
Well, he wasn't guilty of the sin with the situation with his daughters. That was after the.
That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, but that's it.
I mean, that's what I was saying when he offers up his daughters to the crowd that wants to rape the Jules, quote unquote.
All right. Hope you guys can read subtitles.
רבותיי, דמיינו סיטואציה. אתם בבית, יום חם, אתם בפנים עם המשפחה, פתאום דפיקה בדלת. שלום.
שלום לכם. אנחנו באמת מתנצלים על ההטרדה, פשוט תהינו אם נוכל
להתארח אצלך כאן. אנחנו פה תקועים בחוץ.
אתם לבד?
כן.
בחוץ?
כן.
בשכונה הזאת? בואו.
תודה לך, תודה,
איזה יופי, רבותיי, כזאת הכנסת אורחים, מה תגידו, צדיק הלוט הזה או לא צדיק? אבל רגע, המבחן עוד לא נגמר, בואו נראה מה יקרה כשיבואו אליו עוד כמה אורחים מפתיעים.
שלום.
טוב, אתה יודע איך זה הולך. קדימה, תוציא את האורחים שלך, אנחנו רוצים לאנוס אותם.
לא, אבל אני...
אין אבל! אתה לא מכיר את החוקים, זקנצ'יק. אם אתה הולך לאנוס מישהו בעיר הזאת, 30% מהאונס בא אלינו.
כן, זה אני יודע, אבל אני לא הולך לאנוס אותם.
באמת?
כן, להתראות.
טוב, אז מישהו צריך לאנוס אותם. קדימה, החוצה!
איזו תפנית בעלילה, רבותיי, נראה שהדילמות פשוט לא נגמרות עבור הזקן החביב שלנו, ועכשיו נשאלת השאלה, יוציא אותם לאנס או לא יוציא אותם לאנס?
זאת ביתי הבתולה. קחו אותה.
בסדר. צ'ופ. תשמע, אנחנו נאנוס את בתך הבתולה, אבל אנחנו עדיין רוצים את שני הבחורים האלה שם.
He's like trying a hard bargain,
נראה שהזקן
but I still
שלנו
want
קצת
the
נלחץ
animals.
לפינה.
זאת הבכורה. הרבה יותר מנוסה.
טוב, קדימה, נו. בסדר, אנחנו נאנוס גם את הגדולה, אבל זה לא פותר אותך משני החבר'ה האלה שם. זה בשבילך. נו. איש מתוקי שחור כזה חמודי. הלאה! או, השונטה. איזה ליידי.
זאת שלי.
זאת שלך.
טוב, רבותיי, נראה לי שכבר עבדנו מספיק על הזקן החביב, הגיע הזמן שאכיר אותו באופן אישי. לוטי, חביבי, אל תבכה, אתה היית בסדר גמור, חביבי.
רגע, זה אתה מהתוכנית הזאת.
וגם שני האורחים שלך הם בסך הכל שחקנים.
גם הם? אני לא מאמין. ממש עמדו עליי. אוי, זה הקלה עם כל הסיפור הזה של האונס.
לא, האונס בכלל לא קשור אלינו.
ואנחנו עדיין רוצים לאנוס אותם. אתה משגע אותי, אתה מטריף אותי. אני רוצה לאכול אותך.
אז יש לי הצעה בשבילך.
כן.
לא, רבותיי, אני לא בעניין, אני רק צופה.
תעשה סיבוב.
אני לא...
תסתובב, חמודי, תסתובב, אל תתבייש.
אני לא קשור, אני לא...
אני אוהב את מה שאני רואה.
מה?
בוא, יאללה.
רגע, לא,
טוב.
חברים, בעדינות.
אחלה.
תודה רבה.
אחלה.
זה לא הפעם האחרונה שראית אותי.
שחקנים אנחנו, תירגע.
Oof. Thinking what I'm thinking. His daughters and sons/grandsons.
Yeah, I guess that's how he got hard, was he thought about his love for Abraham.
Oof.
Lot never again saw good old Uncle Abraham. But maybe when Lot hung out with his daughters and grandsons, he thought of Uncle Abraham, who had loved him so much that he had bargained with the Lord.
Like, holy crap, if only people, like, I mean, I knew none of this stuff when I was little. I mean, given, there's a good reason for it, but also, so another thing I do want to clarify, because I got a lot of grief from people over this. Like, first of all, I'm not defending what they're attacking. And second of all, what they're attacking isn't what's actually said in the Bible, well, in the Hebrew Bible. So if you were to ever hear like the term sin of Sodom, what do you think that is? Well, I mean, that's like, one of the. Oh,
Anal oral.
Oh, I love Jennifer Bird. She is amazing. Does the Bible tell you so?
Hi, welcome to my series, Does the Bible Tell You So? I'm Dr. Jennifer Bird. I'm a biblical scholar, and I care very much about what people do with what they find in the Bible.
Also, just another reason why we know it wasn't homosexuality. If it was something that was so bad that everyone was doing it, separate what anyone thinks about homosexuality for a second. Is there ever going to be a town that's 100% gay? No. I mean, even if there was, I mean, I guess there could be communities like, but the point is that I'm trying to make is that it has nothing to do with homosexuality, and that's something that Christians later introduced to the narrative.
And by Bible, I mean the two primary Christian testaments, which is the Hebrew Bible, Jewish Bible, and then the Newer Testament. Today's topic, on which I'm trying to just give you some food for thought, not trying to be exhaustive, is what was that sin of Sodom? What was the thing that led God to need to destroy the city?
Yeah. Oh, this is a really, really poor time to pause it. But yeah, this too, I'm going to go back a bit. So, yeah, after I said that, I was like, yeah, West Hollywood, definitely. I didn't think about that when I was saying that. But it's also, I was like thinking like city. I mean, it's like is it its own city or is it part of a city? Like, I don't know.
In the Newer Testament. Today's topic, on which I'm trying to just give you some food for thought, not trying to be exhaustive, is what was that sin of Sodom? What was the thing that led God to need to destroy the city, according to the story, according to the narrative? Was it that the city was full of gay men? Is it that a bunch of the men in the city were having sex with other men? Is that the sin or the sinfulness according to the story? So the answer to that is absolutely not. That is not what was happening. Now, let me briefly look at the story with you to show you how it is I can say that with such certainty. Okay? Pretty sure most people know that Genesis 18 has this exchange between Abraham and the Lord where they're talking about God's like, the city of Sodom is awful, I got to destroy it. And he says, what if there are 50 righteous men? Would you keep from destroying it over 50 men? And they haggle back and forth. It's really kind of an interesting exchange. And then we get at the beginning of chapter 19, the two angels have been sent to the city of Sodom, and angels in this case look like men, so people don't know that they're actually hosting angels unaware. And Lot saw them and was like, oh, hey, you need to come stay with me. And they're like, no, we're fine. We got tents. We'll stay in the square. He's like, no, really, you need to come home with me. First indication that he knows that some bad stuff goes down after dark, right? And so he urged them and they came to stay with him. And he fed them and they ate, had a great time. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man surrounded the house. We can not worry about the gendered language going on here. And they called out to Lot. Before I even read that, what music are you playing in the background? Do we have a little bit of let's get it on going on, right? Or is this like Jaws? We're talking about a scene where every single man in town is surrounding the house, right? Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may know them. Here's the bottom line, folks. This story misrepresents what the men's intention is. If I got the verbs right on that. They use a euphemism that most people realize or have heard of. To know someone is a euphemism for have sex with. But that is not what they're talking about. That is not what it is they want to do. They have surrounded the house and they have two visitors in town and they want them to be brought out to them so that all the men in town can gang rape them. That is what they're talking about. The narrator itself or the story itself misrepresents what's going on. And for whatever reason, people have picked up on that and do not let go of this misunderstanding that the story itself gives us. The thing is, if we keep reading, Lot goes to the door and he says, please do not act so wickedly. If you've already got it in your mind, see, gay sex is wicked, then it's really hard to hear and understand that, no, he's talking about wickedness. He's talking about the fact that they want to rape these two men. Rape and sex, folks, are two different things. And what's really somewhat terrifying to me at times is when people are not able to see that distinction. When it keeps going and he does that awful thing in offering his daughters, but the people reply, I don't want to deal with that right now, stand back. And they said, this fellow has come here as an alien and he's going to judge us? No. Now we will deal worse with you than we would have with them. So by the end of the story, it comes around that they know what they're doing is awful, that they want to be cruel, all of that. The story itself misrepresents and then returns to acknowledging that this is a horrific, terrifying scene. Rape is about punishment, abuse, power differentials, domination. It is not the same thing as sex. This story is not about anyone's homosexuality, anyone's sexuality. This story is about a town that was infamous for being cruel to visitors. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Come back next week. We'll have more discussion on passages that related to sex or sex tangential that people are often misunderstanding. See you next time.
So this is really one of the reasons why I fundamentally insist that people who they refuse to accept that the sin of Sodom was anything but, like, people who they refuse to accept that's anything but homosexuality. And I mean, it doesn't matter what political leaning it is, because I've heard it from people on both sides, both Christians and people who are anti-Christian. I feel like it's because people are either, I mean, it could be any number of things, but either because they're anti-Jewish, they're anti-religious, they're anti-Christian, or they are legitimately ignorant. And probably in most cases, it's legitimate ignorance combined with some of the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
So what she's saying is basically, same-sex bathhouse orgies God's cool with, but you can't go to the S&M clubs because that's where the cruelty starts to happen.
I mean, technically, if it's consensual, it's not cruelty.
Well, when she says that the story misrepresents itself, I mean, there's a negation of the whole narrative.
Well, no.
We're talking about sex. Sex is sex, whether it's consensual or not. So it does involve sex. Rape does involve sex. You can get pregnant from rape. That's sex. So it's a bit of a modern washing. Now you can focus in on the cruelty part, the rape part. But the fact that these visitors are male and that
but they're not.
And that
no, they're not.
Well, it's unclear whether they are or aren't.
It never says that they're, like, it never uses gendered language in a way that, like, extends beyond what's just necessary to be a part of, grammatical usage.
Well, that's what I was asking you about earlier, about whether it's neutral or not. And you said, it's essentially like male, because lords is lords, isn't ladies.
Yeah, so, like, for instance, they could have used the words, like, giborim, men, or like mighty ones, or I'm trying to think, like, or like, there's a lot of gendered language that could have been used that wasn't, and that's the point to make.
Well, there's never any indication of any of those figures being female that are relating to.
Right, they're generally understood as being androgynous.
And then the offering up of the daughters is still a showing of how the women are possessions.
Yeah, it's really...
They do not have the equal rights.
It's a very, very messed up story on many accounts.
Now, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Lot would have offered up his sons too if he had some available.
Well,
Seems like that kind of guy.
I mean, to be fair, because of this, he ended up having sons. You know what his sons' names were?
What?
Ammon and Moab.
How spelled Ammon?
Ammon, or well, Aleph Mem Vav Nun.
Wow, totally the connection with Amen being the evocation of the god Ammon, the sort of invisible spirit, I think. Considered.
All right, so let's see. So, Vayisef od lidaber alav, and Vayisef od. What if I gather, or wait, Vayisef od. Vayisef od. And he spoke again to him and said, "What? But what if Yimatsun Sham? What if you find there Arba'im 40? Vayomer lo," and he said, "Lo e'ese be'avur. I will not do it on account of the 40. Vayomer al na yachar le'adoni." And he said, "Please do not, yachar. Please do not be furious, or please do not be furious for my lord's 𝐤�𤐤𤓀𝐃. Wait, adabra. Please do not be furious if I speak at if I say, what if you find there 30? And he said, I will not do it if I find there 30. Vayomer Yamson Sham Shloshim Vayomer lo Eseim Emsa Sham Shloshim Vayomer Hinena, and he said, please listen, or like, behold, Ho'alti, if I start to speak to my Lord, Lidaber El Adonai, Ulai Yimatsun Sham Esrim. What if there you find 20? Vayomer lo, and he said, lo ashchit ba'avur ha'esrim. I will not destroy it on account of the 20. Vayomer al na yichar le'adonai ve'adabra af pa'am ulai yematsun sham asara. Vayomer lo ashchit ba'avur ha'asara. And he said, please, again, Yachar, what is it? Please don't be mad, my lord, if I ask again one more time, will you destroy it if there you find 10? And he said, no, I will not destroy it if on account of the 10. Vayilech Adonai kasher, and Vayilech Adonai kasher kila ledaber el Avraham ve'Avraham shav limkomo. And as he finished to speak to Abraham, God left, and Abraham returned to his place. So, I mean, the next, yeah, I mean, I don't know when I'll have enough energy to do the next. Oh, the link. Yeah. Here, copy. Here.
So the whole time, yeah, he's talking to the one of the three. Because at that point, he's not talking to the Lord, right? He's saying, my Lord of these three Adonai, right?
Yeah, the
So
negotiation I always heard was happening with, God in person.
yeah, so what's interesting is here he's saying, La Adonai, but lo
But
es
he's walking with the three.
I'm sorry. No, but the language that's used here, like it's if it was if we find, it would be nimtza. This is emtza, which means if I find. So this is singular right now, and so I was wrong. Adonai is used in the singular context here.
Well, but that's what we had said earlier, is that it starts off, it's speaking plural, and then he seems to be talking to one of the three. And he's been talking to that one of the three, or the three as one, if you want to say,
Mm-hmm.
the whole time.
So
There would have to be
Hey,
an
guys.
entrance. If it's God as opposed to these three emissaries, angels as they're characterized, there would be some entrance, would there not? Some description of that difference.
I mean, I think this is also probably one of the reasons why, even though, it's not how I read it, I do see how Christians could read the Trinity into that, because like the word anashim, like if you break it down to like how it translates, let's see, where was it?
Let me know when I can break in.
Oh yeah.
My point is from past to the sex of sex thing. I think zero. I don't have my. I can't see. Did I name? Understand that in that context, it wasn't sex; it was punishment, right? And to this day, that kind of punishment is still dealt out. Why did people not want to get captured by Daesh? Why did men not want to be captured by Daesh? Because that was,
or Hamas.
Because that's the punishment that's going to be doled out to this day in that same area. So
yes, unconsensual sex as punishment.
No, not it's rape as punishment specifically.
Which rape means unconsensual sex. It doesn't mean just abusing someone.
Though I think that there is a nuance that you're missing, and I think there is.
I'm not missing it.
Okay.
It's
all right.
You're right. It's a distinction without that much of a difference. It is violence, obviously. It is not making love. It is a violent act. It is a domination.
Right, but you said you said that what Dr. Bird said about the story negated itself. What I'm saying is only if you think of rape as sex. She's saying that there's not enough emphasis on the punishment aspect of the shunat. The neighborhood wanted to put on Lot and the angels, who are sexless because they're angels.
Well,
you get that point. It's not negated. What she's based. Excuse me.
That's not made clear either that they are.
It is if you know the context. Ish can mean man or male, but that's only in contrast to woman. So if you have Ish versus Isha, but it can also mean human being or person in contrast to God, servant, mankind, champion, or great man.
The idea of a non-neutered language, you're going from modern day ancient, and you're also going from a neutered language to a sexed language, where if it's a sex language, any mixed company is automatically male. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, guess what? That's just how it is. The Latin languages are the same. So if you have a mixed group, it's going to be the masculine pronoun to imply either, you know what I'm saying? As long as there's one male and a group of women, you're going to use the masculine pronoun to say that it's a mixed group.
So by calling them lords is not gendered?
Not inherently, because that language is also used to refer to the Shekhinah.
Okay.
So basically, like the word that Wait, it might be, I might be spelling it wrong, but the word that's used for rape is anas, which, and again, I might be spelling it wrong, but in this context, spelled this way, it means to compel or constrain, but at least in modern Hebrew, like ones is the word for rape. But the point that Dr. Bird was making is that the word like lada, lada to know someone, which is, it's referring to, and again, it doesn't specify, because it's also important to keep in mind that this was back in a time where like rape marriage was something that was seen as perfectly acceptable, that you could take someone and then they were your wife. And so like I think that's also one of the reasons why there isn't the distinction. So it's not necessarily like, it's not that the narrative is necessarily trying to go out of its way to like ignore that, but more so just that our society is evolved in a way where we recognize that as abhorrent regardless of context. But what was it? It could also be spelled with ayin, but I think it's with an olive. But the point though is that I do think what Johnny's saying is really important. Let's see, I totally might be spelling. Okay, it's interesting because even though this is with a different root, anash, or like I don't know if it also has that with anas, but it can mean like punishment. But this is more within the context of fine. But if I look up, let's see, it's yada. Anyone have any thoughts in the meantime?
Well, ultimately, how many are in Lot's family? Is it clear?
His 2 daughters and his wife, I think.
So they are the under 10. But there's potentially 9 other innocents in the village.
Well,
because they stop at 10.
6 others.
Well, if you're counting Lot's family, they are taken out.
Why would they be taken out?
They are taken out of Sodom before the destruction.
No, but they leave because they're warned that it's going to be destroyed. The thing is that if there would have been 6 other people, because it implies that they're righteous, that the whole town would have been saved.
So how many in Lot's family again? What?
4?
4. So another 5.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, I can't find it here, but the point is that there is a lot more context to, but like even just looking at, wait, where was it? Here. So with this, it really all depends on the context, but like the fact that that translations go out of its way to say agents. In fact, like when Moses is called a Ish Elohim, it gets translated as an agent or like someone who works on behalf of God. So in this context, it's like, and I do think this is an important distinction. So does it have it person here? Let's see, belonging to place or people. Retainers, follower. So in this context, men can mean retainers, followers, or soldiers. Ish Elohim, a man of God, or but like it's Exodus 12:3, including women. Let's see, where is it? Ish Shet Labate Avot. Yeah. So and say that on the 10, each of them. So literally every in this context it would be every person. And one of the things I do think is really important to like make as like a distinction is let's see, where is it here? So if you trace back person to its furthest form, you get the Etruscan persu, or mask. In the sense, displaced native man, which came to mean primarily adult male in Middle English, only in Middle English. Yeah, like even the word man doesn't even inherently mean male. That came later. But literally a mask used by an actor, role, part, or character. So
𤤅𤐤���� versus 𝐅𝐤.
What?
𤤅𝐤𝓚 versus 𝐅𝐤. That's why we have.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
That was it. It's just the idea that we have 𝐅 for anishim, and then 𤤅𝐤𝓚 for masculine, you know, or not for masculine, for male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just want to see if I can find some.
There's also the other passages, of course, which the death penalty for homosexuality, although I've seen you.
It's not.
It what means when it's lying with a young man. So, in it.
David and Jonathan is a good example of it being in the Bible too.
Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Here. Mish.
I think you've stated before that it's lying with a boy as you would with a woman, as opposed to lying with a man as you would with a woman. It's
not just that. There's also, I hope I remembered it right. See.
It's also written past forms too. There were reforms, just like in the Greek, when Plato reforms, you know, in his writings tries to reform society. There were reforms inside the Torah too. Not for any point, just to make the point, not for any, just to interject to have fun, I guess.
Let's see, is it it would be in Talmud, I think. Or no, it would be commentary.
I mean, the clear way would be to say why the city's being destroyed explicitly.
Because
that'd make it easy for interpretation. That's no fun.
I think it's pretty if you're hostile to guests, and you know what I mean. It's ad nauseum the hospitality that Lot shows, and the hostility towards guests is also ad nauseum from the people of the city. So it just seems to the tale is about hospitality.
So yeah, if you were to literally translate this, and if a man, and if a man shall yishchav lie et zachar with a male, like implied the same as mishchave isha, like as he does with a woman, toeva asu, shneham. So basically, because it implies that the two of them have done something wrong, people in a modern context then infer that, oh, that must mean that, like, by implicity, that the second person, you know, must be consenting. But again, that isn't implied anywhere. And the what's important is here, isha is used. So the fact that ish isn't, isha doesn't mean female relative to zachar. Isha means adult relative to zachar, because zachar, like, here, let's see, where is it? Hold on, there. It won't. Okay, there. Let's see. The point is, like, the ways that 𝐅𝐤𝐷𝐀𝐀 and nekeva, which mean male and female, are used. Okay, here, look at this. Especially of individual in context with circumcision, which is done when someone's young, of male child. Let's see, Isha in command. Animals, especially for sacrifice. It's not explicitly like a young child or a young male, but the point is that it's referring to their genitals, whereas Isha, like, even though, you know, implicitly woman, but that's only in opposition to man. Like, for instance, if you were to have the word Ish and Yeled, they're both male, but the difference is the age. Or same with Ish and Zachar. They both refer to the same gender, same sex, but the difference is that there's a difference in age. And again, I don't think that it's like, oh, this makes it moral, because you still don't have anything prohibiting lying with a like, you don't have this issue of ishkav et nekeva mishchave isha, because I mean, our society recognizes that that's horrible, but back then people didn't. But
you mean like rape within marriage? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about like basically. I'm trying to not get my channel or not my account, or not account, my video demonetized, but basically they didn't have any issue with young girls. They had an issue with young boys. You there?
Yeah.
But yeah, so one second. Let's see. Vayera. Let me see where I can find about this, and then we'll close out.
And the other thing is how it goes. I miss where it starts out with 3 and then ends up being 2, as far as the supposed angels.
Let me see what I can find about that.
I was going to say that's an interesting one. That could be because 2 of them went into Sodom, and the other one was, instead of it being God, the other one was the one that stayed and negotiated with Abraham. Tag.
Editing error.
What?
Tag. Editing error. Tag.
Hello. In this week's Torah portion, Vayera, angels are all over the place. First, an angel comes to Hagar to help her in the deserts. Quote, the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, unquote. Then 2 angels come to destroy the city of Sodom. Quote, and the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, unquote. Then an angel stops Abraham from sacrificing his son Isaac. Quote, and the angel of the Lord called Abraham from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham, do not lay your hand on the lad, unquote. Angels appear frequently in the Torah. Here are 2 more examples from the book of Genesis alone. Jacob, with God beside him, sees a ladder leading up to heaven, with angels going up and down on it nonstop. Was that an ancient reporting system? Jacob struggles with an angel all night and prevails, then gets his name changed to Israel, meaning he who struggles with gods. Quotes, and the angel said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, because you fought with God and with men and prevails. Unquotes. So let's talk about the Jewish view of angels. What are they? What is their role? Well, the Hebrew word for angel is malach, from the root lamed aleph chaf, meaning to send. So malach means he who is sent. An angel is therefore an emissary, someone God sends to perform a task. Note in passing that malach does not have the same root as melech, meaning king. The root of king is mem lamed chaf. Angels are more knowledgeable and more powerful than people, but have no independent will. They just carry out orders from God. Because they are just emissaries of God's, there are angels for everything, for whatever God has in mind to do. The Talmud and Midrash mention angels for prayer, for hail, for rain, for anger, for Gehenna, for birth and pregnancy, for the sea, even for lusts. There are also guardian angels for entire groups and for special people, even evil ones. The Persians had one named Dubiel. Edom had one. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had one named Kal. In fact, all kings have one. There is even an angel for the entire universe, Metatron, also called Sar, meaning prince. These guardian angels, Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had one named Kal. In fact, all kings have one. There is even an angel for the entire universe, Metatron, also called Sar, meaning prince. These guardian angels plead on behalf of their charges. For example, in the Midrash, God summons the guardian angels of all the nations to discuss the enslavement of the Israelites in Egypt. The angel Gabriel, upon orders from Michael, produces a portion of the wall the Israelites have been forced to build for the Egyptians. It is found to contain the body of an Israelite child. So God punishes first the guardian angel of Egypt, then the Egyptians themselves. This, of course, raises questions. Why was the angel punished if he has no will of his own? And if angels can argue cases and sway gods, why is it wrong to pray to them? Because it is. Jews must pray only to gods. Angels also are not eternal. Not all of them. The Midrash says that every day God creates a legion of angels, they sing before him and disappear. The exact limits of angels are not always clearly defined. Judaism teaches that there is no intermediary between people and gods. So the rabbis tried hard to counter the people's belief in the power of angels, which they considered a form of idolatry. Yet the rabbis were not above using people's belief in the intercession of angels to get them to use only Hebrew in prayer. The Talmud says that the angels don't understand Aramaic. The implications being that if you want the angels to listen to you, pray in Hebrew. This is why most prayers are now in Hebrew. Aramaic is found only in the Gemara, parts of the Zohar, and a few prayers such as the Kaddish, Kol Nidrei, Halachma, Had-Gadya, Ehad Niodea, and others. Perhaps the best known and and a few prayers such as the Kaddish, Kol Nidrei, Halachma, Had-Gadya, Ehad Niodea, and others. Perhaps the best known and feared angel in Jewish lore is the angel of death, the Malach HaMavet. He just picks up people when God decrees their time is up.
Okay, this is pretty interesting. So, the Malach HaMavet, angel of death, it's not like some enemy of God, it's literally a servant of God. And then, the parallel would be in Canaanite religion, they had Mot, El's darling. Literally, death was El's darling. Like, you can't make this stuff up. It's a direct parallel.
In the Talmud, he is known as Hasatan, the adversary, or Samael, or the Yetzirah, the evil inclination. He may goads God into ordering certain actions.
Wait, is this saying the angel of death is?
Yeah.
He just picks up people when God decrees their time is up. In the Talmud, he is known as Hasatan, the adversary, or Samael, or the Yetzirah, the evil inclination. He may goads God into ordering certain actions, as in the book of Job. He can be delayed from accomplishing his mission by prayer, study, or charity, or fools, such as...
See, this is the thing that I never understand. When people are like, oh yeah, let's worship Satan, that's the trendy, cool thing. Like, at the end of the day, my issue with that isn't any sort of like, oh, I think that they're morally evil people. I just think it's kind of stupid. It's like, Satan, if you follow the internal logic, is literally like...
working for God.
I was going to say his bitch, but yeah.
Oh, it's completely the instrument of his will. Samael, does that not mean the same as God?
No.
What is
Well,
the sama?
Sam means poison.
Also, never mind.
Yeah. No, what?
Satanism is more of like it's a Christian view taken, into modernity to the self and like being selfish. So a lot of these people that call themselves Satanists are really just saying that they're appealing to their selfish sides, almost like an Ayn Rand objectivism.
Yeah, that Ayn Rand and I'm not going to get into the politics, but Ayn Rand was objectively a horrible person, and she idolized a murderer.
Well, the in the Mithraic kind of understanding, with Ahriman as the opponent, the adversary, it's all in the kind of a need to in order to for the good side to be fulfilled, it needs a worthy opponent, and so it's a match.
But the idea, like the American Satanists are, who are you to tell me what to do, Daddy? I'm going to do what I want. I'm just as good as you. It says right here that God lives within us. So I'm just as good as you, type of a thing. I think is what they're appealing to.
But let's see.
I was going to say, one of the things that jumped out at me is, well, God may not understand Aramaic. It's clear that he definitely understands Greek and Latin.
Oh no, God understands Aramaic. It's the angels that don't, apparently.
Oh, okay. So if you go in Greek and Latin, you're also bypassing the angels and going straight to God.
Yeah, I wonder what the angels think about English.
Dear Lord, I don't know. Tag.
By changing the name of dying people or move to compassion. He's either not very bright or he's always welcoming good excuses to avoid accomplishing his dark.
And that's the funny thing. Like, why would you worship someone who's described this way?
From accomplishing his mission by prayer, study, or charity. Or fools, such as by changing the name of dying people or move to compassion. He's either not very bright or he's always welcoming good excuses to avoid accomplishing his dark mission. If angels are God's staff, there must be a chief of staff.
With Jacob and Israel meaning the one that fought with God, so it was an adversary in a wrestling match with God.
It's possible, but there are some
way that it's just part of the structure. A way to test oneself.
So I mean, there's two theories.
Yeah. The bargaining that's done by Abraham and Moses and all, in that same sense, Jacob wrestling with God. In that relationship, they're in an adversarial, on some level, relationship.
Stands up to God.
Yeah. One of the other interesting theories is that it might have originally been Israel, and that it meant like the seed of El, but that later, as the idea of like the boundary between God and human became more, more like explicit, then it like, how can you be the seed of God if God, so like the idea of God being the father stayed, but the idea of being the literal seed of God started to be kind of like, okay, maybe this is a bit too much like saying that God is a human. And so that went out. Another thing is that it could have actually been Yisrael, which would have been like the righteous of El. But I think that's more of a mystical idea that kind of popped up later.
So the fact that Abraham is able to negotiate and that God's will is altered, like with the killing of the cult of the calf, God was going to mow them down, and Moses said no. And then it's Moses that goes down and flips out and decides to kill them. But I mean, it represents that there is this other, that God itself is tested and, made more full in a different way. Like that person is another aspect of God that it's listening to.
Yeah.
7 archangels head the world of angels. They carry out tasks of special significance for world history. They are Michael, meaning God's strength. He's in charge of heaven.
That's not true. Michael is who is like God. Wait, did he say Gabriel in it?
Meaning God's strength and for world history. They are Michael.
Oh, he tried to fix it by changing the caption. So no. So Gabriel means God's strength.
Meaning God's strength. He's in charge of heaven. No, Gabriel, meaning God's strength, in charge of heaven. Michael, meaning who is like God, watches over Israel. Raphael, meaning God's healer, watches over the spirits of humans. Uriel, meaning...
No, you totally misheard me.
God's light leads the angelic host and guards the underworld, Sheol. Raguel, meaning God's friend, is in charge of justice. Heaven. Michael, meaning who is like God, watches over Israel. Raphael, meaning God's healer, watches over the spirits of humans. Uriel, meaning God's light, leads the angelic host and guards the underworld, Sheol. Raguel, meaning God's friend, is in charge of justice and harmony. Sariel, means the angelic host of humans. Uriel, meaning God's light, leads the angelic host and guards the underworld, Sheol. Raguel, meaning God's friend, is in charge of justice and harmony. Sariel, meaning God's commands, has special tasks. For example, he was sent to receive the soul of Moses, and Moses owed all his knowledge to him. He also told Jacob the meaning of the ladder he dreamed. Yeremiel, meaning God's mercy, reviews people's lives with them after they have died and sometimes before. There are also groups of angels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the ophanim, God's mercy. For example, he was sent to receive the soul of Moses, and Moses owed all his knowledge to him. He also told Jacob the meaning of the ladder he dreamed. Yeremiel, meaning God's mercy, reviews people's lives with them after they have died and sometimes before. There are also groups of angels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the ophanim, the Hayot HaKodesh, which we invoke when we sing El Adon, the song of creation, on Shabbat morning. A very popular song featuring angels, which has fueled some controversy, is Shalom Aleichem. It is sung before the Shabbat meal. It says, Shalom Aleichem Malachei HaSharet, peace to you, O ministering angels. Borachem LeShalom, come in peace. Barchuni LeShalom, bless me with peace. Tzetchem LeShalom, depart in peace. It was composed in the 17th century by Kabbalists in Tzefat, Israel. Its origin is in the Talmud. Quote, it was taught, Rabbi Yosei, son of Rav Yehuda, said, 2 ministering angels accompany man on Shabbat Eve from the synagogue to his home, one good and one evil. When he arrives at home and finds the lamp burning, the table laid out, and the bed covered with a spread, the good angel exclaims, may it be so on another Shabbat also. And the evil angel unwillingly responds, Amen. But if not, if everything is in disorder and gloomy, the evil angel exclaims, may it be so on another Shabbat also. And the good angel unwillingly responds, Amen. Unquote. The song welcomes these 2 angels. The controversy was raised by the Vilna Gaon and Rav Yaakov Emden in the 18th century. The song says, bless me with peace, O angels of peace. But angels cannot bless. Only God can. Many commentators wishing to retain the song have suggested ways around the controversy. One said it's an expression of hope, not a request. Another said it's an expression of humility. Although we know only God can grant the blessing, we dare not address God directly. Or we are asking God to have the angels bring our prayers before him, as they are supposed to do. Or angels are allowed to do a few simple things on their own, so we can ask them. Or we're not praying to the angel, but to God, to ask that he send us his angel to do what we ask the angel to do. Or it's a command, not a request. Bless me means do the job you were sent to do. A disciple of the Vilna Gaon said, in singing Malachei Alyon Melech Malchei Hamlachim, that is, messengers of the Most High from the Supreme King of Kings, do not pause between Elyon and Mimelech to make it clear that the Malachei Elyon are emissaries from God and not a higher power on their own. Note that the angels in the song are enjoined to leave at the end, before the meal begins, because angels do not eat, and people find it distasteful to be watched as they eat by those who do not eat. Still, some Jews won't sing that line. Prominent commentators fought against the frequent appearance of angels in Jewish liturgy and tried hard to exclude them. Their basis is simple. One does not petition angels. The Rambam, Maimonides, said that angels simply denote natural and psychic forces, not divine beings. Rabbi Yosef 𐤅𤐤𤓃 from 12th century Spain and France said, true penitence does not stand in need of intervention by the saints. Feigned penitence will not be helped by either the dead or the saints, by man or angel. Isaac Abravanel from 15th century Spain decried all appeals to angels. Yom Tov Lipman Mulhausen from 15th century Europe said, our sages rejected any intermediation between man and the Creator. Appeals to intermediaries leads to devilry and idolatry. Some rabbis just changed the text of the liturgy to avoid the implication.
So to address is Yisrael to struggle with God or fight with God sounds like a violent place. Or as I just had it pulled up. So I mean, if you look, like, I'm probably not looking in the right place, but like right now I can't find Yasar, which is where Yisrael is from. I can only find Yashar, and like one of the let's see, where is it? Isharu. One of the names for Jerusalem is Yeshurun, which means like the righteous, or I forget exactly, but the point is that righteous or upright, straight, upright, evenness, upright, equity. Interesting. That's also where Sharon is from. Sharon means a plain. The Sharon plain. Oh, it just is saying like the Sharon. Mishor, level, place, uprightness. Yashash. Yeah, I can't find anything right now for Yasar. Really interesting in my mind. Let's see, where is it? Here. Let's see. Makala, the son of Allah. What? Makala means who is like God. Mika. Oh, interesting.
Michael.
And then Uriel watches over Sheol. Apparently, that's what he said.
Of pleading with angels for their intervention. Others, however, said these passages do not contradict pure monotheism. In conclusion, we can say that angels are at the margin of Judaism. People frequently like to refer to them and ask them things, but most rabbis do not. So rabbis carefully monitor all references to them to minimize their role. Shabbat Shalom. So rabbis carefully monitor all references to them to minimize their role. Shabbat Shalom.
So am I frozen, or are you frozen, or am I being heard?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find the slide.
So Uriel as light of God, is there a lot of other usage of that Uri for light?
Uri, I mean, Uri just means my light, but or means light, and it's used a lot.
That's interesting. The Abram being from Ur.
So there's actually let's see if I can find it. Wait, what? Oh my god. Let's see. So there was a tradition that actually I think so this is actually, it was given. You could look at it as like, oh, this is but realistically it's a mistake. It's a mistake in the Hebrew Bible, and it's, well, people who like believe it like orthodoxly think that there are no mistakes in the Hebrew Bible, but let's see. So where was it? It would be 12 here. So let's see. Or Kastim. Let's find Or Kastim. Or Kastim.
Yeah.
Oh, here I found it. So look at this. Me'or Kastim. The way that it should be spelled is with an ayin, but it's spelled the way as flame or light of fire. And so because of this, there's a tradition that when he left Ur Kasdim, actually, let me see if I can find that. But a tradition that Ur Kasdim was actually the story of like Abraham being thrown into the fire.
Daniel, but not Abraham. I was looking around those various places that they were talking about as the potential sites of Ur besides ancient Sumerian Ur, which would already have been kind of defunct by then. Ur-Kesh seems to line up with the Ur-Kasdim, and also Ur-Kish, which was Hurrian city, which seems to relate to Haran.
Let's see. Here.
And so the Uri, or the Huri, are the Hurrians.
Okay, here.
Are two visions. It's really important, I think, to understand that there are two visions in the world today. And one of the best places to see what these two visions really are is in Genesis chapter 11. And it's the first 9 verses. It's the story of the Tower of Babel. Now, the story of the Tower of Babel pits the prevailing orthodoxy, the public doctrine of the day, which was all shaped by a man called...
Sharon, no, don't think of Charon. More likely, there's a connection between Charon and Horon. Horon was the underworld god in Canaan. And there was also Mot. Mot was death itself, but Horon was like the one who was like the guardian over it.
Well, that was the other thing in the previous episode that we talked about with Kur being mountain in Sumerian and relating with Har, kind of, and that it was also, the mountain was related to the underworld, that the cave system you would access through the mountains would lead to the undersea, the Abzu. So that's a completely parallel concept in the Sumerian It seems to overlap with the association with mountain, also
Nimrod.
relating to the underworld.
Now, his name isn't mentioned in chapter 11, but that's because by that time his doctrine had spread far and wide, and it was the dominant culture. But the story in chapter 11 begins by saying, and this took place in a land called Shinar. And just a few verses earlier than that, we are introduced to Nimrod, and he lives, he's the king of, guess where? Shinar. So now we know that this whole Tower of Babel story is Nimrod. And we're told that he is a hunter of great repute. In chapter 13 now, in Genesis, in chapter 13 now, in Genesis 13, Abraham says to Lot, listen, our shepherds are arguing with each other. We have to separate. And so you go left, I'll go right. You go right, I'll go left. You choose. Lot lifts his eyes, looks at the valley of the Jordan. He looks at the city of Sodom. He says, I'm going to go there. And the next verse, and my English, Sodom, he says, I'm going to go there. His eyes looks at the valley of the Jordan. He looks at the city of Sodom. He says, I'm going to go there. And the next verse, and my English translation actually says, and Lot journeyed to the east, right, which is exactly right? Because here he is in Bethel with Abraham. There's Sodom. If I get out the way, you'll see it more clearly. And am I going to have to do remedial geography with this crowd? Okay, so, and there he journeys to the east, right? Except it's wrong, because the Hebrew text doesn't say he journeyed to the east. Right. The Hebrew text says, Velot nasa mikedem, from the east.
From the east, not to the east.
Not to the east. But it's not true, he journeyed to the east. This is so baffling that many English translations mistranslate it. That's
right.
They lie.
That's right.
Have you ever heard of a translator lying? Wow. If you haven't, just go to the United Nations. And
that's right.
So what is it when it says Abraham journeyed, when Lot journeyed from the east? In the Lord's language, east is not a geography. East means the origin, the beginning.
Right.
The early, the origin. And it's only called the east because that's the origin of the day. That's where the sun rises. But the word kedem actually means the origin. And so I tell you all of this because you got to understand that intrinsic to the Nimrod approach is a journey away from the east. So when Lot leaves Abraham, you would agree that he's leaving God, right?
Right.
And he's going to Sodom. That's for sure leaving God. And so in chapter 13, Abraham says, you choose wherever you want to go. Lot chooses the valley of the Jordan and travels to the east. But the text says he journeyed away from Kedem, because Kedem means God, the origin, the source of everything. Going away. Therefore, going back to chapter 11 now, Tower of Babel, and they journeyed from the east. That's how the story begins. It's not a geography thing. It's not a geography. Who cares if they came from the north or the south or the east? It's irrelevant. They journeyed away from God. Then you got to know the Nimrod approach is a elimination. It's a journey away from God. The Abram approach is a journey to God. And every single political struggle since then has been a struggle between Abraham and Nimrod. It's on a spectrum. Not everybody is Abraham, not everybody is Nimrod.
Again, seeming frozen, so I'm going to speak and maybe that'll break it.
Sorry, what was that?
I guess we're just at a pause and it's not a frozen moment. So I speak to see if I'm out or not.
Yeah, here.
So I think that 𝐤�𤐷𝐊𝐴, I think, is related to Nimrod. And the 𐤅𐤉𤓃 tablet talks about the one language and also the invention of writing. And it seems to be what the Tower of Babel story is based on. And I think it was 2700 BC, maybe earlier.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm just kind of.
But it's all about 𐤅𤗃𤓃 usurping and taking over from Arata, which may relate to Mount Ararat and its place in the mountains, place of jewels. And it's about the goddesses now favoring the new successor state and has moved literally physically to a new temple.
Let's see.
That temple complex, it wasn't quite a ziggurat, although it was a platform with a temple on it, cubic temple. So it's very, very proto temple, and that seems to be, and it talks about the confounding of the one tongue.
Right here, I think I found it.
Hi, this is the
Let's see if I can find.
the one that created all of us. He's in the house. So Abram asked his father. That cannot eat and cannot smell, cannot. I didn't do it. And power. Do you think that you're not serving the real true God that created heaven?
Let's see. Trying to find the right one. Let's see. Nimrod.
𐤅𤗃𤓃.
Oh, here. Found it.
We read Midrashim about Avraham Avinu in the first night of Sukkot. Avraham Avinu, he went and he was fighting, and they're calling him from the palace of Nimrod. Nimrod was the king, and he was doing things in the world, killing every enemy, everyone that was disturbing him. He was slaughtering thousands and thousands of children, of people. He didn't have no fear in his eyes. He was killing everyone. Cruel king, horrific, horrible king. And one day he heard that there is that crazy person, Avraham Avinu, that is going and talking against his kingship. He was idolizing himself all of his life, Nimrod. So he said, call Avraham here. I want him to talk to him, to ask him what he thinks to himself. So they called Avraham Avinu. What is Avraham Avinu doing? He's crossing all of the soldiers, doesn't look to the sides, going one after the other. Like, think about it. Someone going to call you now, going to tell you, hey, listen, the president of the United States, he wants to talk to you. Okay, great. You're going to come. You're going to wear your best suit. You're entering into they're going to bring you to the entrance to the White House. Great. You're standing. What you're going to do next? You're going to wait. They're going to tell you where to go. Okay, they're going to open the next door for you. You're going to make a few steps. You're going to enter. What then you're going to do? You're going to stop. You're going to wait for permission that someone is going to guide you. You're going to tell, okay, here you're allowed to enter. Here you're not allowed to enter. You think it was easier in the early days? No, it was worse. It was killing, executing everyone. Today, they're going to arrest you. They're going to take you to prison, investigate you. They're going to stop you. They're going to, what's going on with that white person? What he's doing here, that black person? Hey, what he's doing here? They're just going to talk about you. Nothing going to happen to you if you're going to go to the next room in the White House. They're going to stop you. They're going to hold you. They're going to investigate you. Well, hey, what are you doing? Are you Jewish? What are you doing? What do you have under your kippah? No, it's not coming off. Okay, and then they're going to set you free. But in the early days, they're going to take the axe, take your hat off, and that's it. They're going to throw you behind the palace in the backyard that they stolen from another person's property. So it's like no one, it wasn't easier in those days. But Avraham Avinu, what is he doing? He is entering from one room to the other until he came to that main hall of Nimrod, and he saw the throne of there in those days. But Avraham Avinu, what is he doing? He is entering from one room to the other in those days. But Avraham Avinu, what is he doing? He is entering from one room to the other until he came to that main hall of Nimrod, and he saw the throne of honor of Nimrod, his seat, the palace, and he's entering, and he went and he started holding the throne of honor of Nimrod, and he's shaking the seat until Nimrod fell on his face. You able to do that? Can you think about that? Doing that to Obama? Who is Obama compared to Nimrod? It's a joke. He fell on his face. The throne of honor of Nimrod, and he's entering, and he went and he started holding the throne of honor of Nimrod, and he's shaking the seat
like a reference
until Nimrod fell on his face. You able to do that? Can you think about that? Doing that to Obama? Who is Obama compared to Nimrod? It's a joke. He maybe would clean his shoes, polishing his shoes in the days of Nimrod, Obama. What can Obama do? You can compare him to Nimrod? Nothing. He just one of his slaves, maybe. Nimrod, well, he built the Babylon Tower. He was a giant.
He seriously did not just say that, did he?
And Abraham, he was a Nimrod, well, he built the Babylon Tower. He was one of his slaves, maybe.
Oh
Nimrod,
my
well,
God.
Nimrod washing his shoes in the days of Nimrod, Obama. What can Obama do? Shoes, polishing his shoes in the days of Nimrod, Obama. What can Obama do? You can compare him to Nimrod? Nothing. He just one of his slaves, maybe. Nimrod, well, he built the Babylon Tower. He was a giant. And Avraham Avinu is going and shaking his throne of honor and throwing him to the ground, and he fell on his face. And now Avraham Avinu starts rebuking him and screaming at him. Who are you? You're a heretic. You're talking things against the Creator that created heaven and earth. And you don't believe in his slave Avraham. You're also talking about me. And you think this and that. And there were two idols that were standing over there in his palace, and both of them fell on their faces and broke to pieces. And everyone were terrified and shaking and afraid. And he's looking at him, and then Avraham Avinu is calling him, you're a dog. Who you think you are? You're this, you're that. And no one is able to talk to him. And then he went out from the palace, finished with this comedy, with this joke, and went back to do his job in the world, going, talking to people, converting thousands of souls, talking to another person. And then he's walking in the street, and he sees an old woman, an old woman came to him, and she's telling him, hey, you're the son of Terach, your brother Haran. He sold me two idols, one idol, he sold me an idol, and that idol, thieves came in the middle of the night and stolen my idol. So he's looking at her and tells her, look, if in the middle of two idols, one idol, he sold Terach. One old woman came to him, and she's telling him, hey, you're the son of Terach, your brother Haran. He sold me two idols, one idol, he sold me an idol, and that idol, thieves came in the middle of the night and stolen my idol. So he's looking at her and tells her, look, if that idol couldn't save himself from the thieves, so what do you want from me now? She said, I want another one, a brand new one, a new one, a stronger one, a more powerful one. Look, if that idol couldn't save himself, how do you want him to save you? So she told him, what do you suggest? So he said, I suggest that you're going to drop your nonsense, do tshuva, and believe in the Creator that created heaven and earth. And start.
Ready to start eating healthier? Meet 𝐤𝐅𐤊𝐻. 𝐤𝐤𝐻 is the
Sorry, I'm trying to find something in the meantime. Let's see. Oh, here. Oh, no, way too long. Let's see. should be good.
Many people were taken aback when God gave Moses and Joshua the instruction to launch an all-out extermination campaign against the Canaanites, murdering not only men but also women and children. What kind of loving God would do anything like that? This strategy, however, was solely intended and applied against the Nephilim, Anakim, and 𝐤𝐅𝐿 territories, which were the source of the aforementioned evil. It would make even more sense for God to order this if the Nephilim's descendants were crazy. To sentence a psychotic killer to death for the sake of society is a humane act, not a harsh one. Given that these features are heritable, it becomes possible that Nephilim traits like
This is real.
musculature and psychopathology were passed
What
down
the?
genetically.
This is
The
dark.
fact that they appeared primarily in Canaan, one of Ham's sons, would imply that Ham or,
God.
more likely, his wife were the source of these things. Because of the complexities of genetics, it is unclear if the offspring of a marriage
This is
will acquire the genes for a
this is getting really gross and race sciencey, not gonna lie. Oh wait, what was that?
Many people were taken aback.
Particularly the Neo.
See, anything about? No, nothing about John.
So apparently not even 10 amongst them.
Sorry, what?
Apparently not even 10 amongst those killed men, women, and children of groups. If there's even 10 righteous among them.
Wait, is this okay? This should be good.
Hello and welcome back to Through the Bible with Papa George.
And then after this, we'll
Today we're going to be looking
close
at
out.
Genesis chapter 10. It's going to be a genealogy. I hope I don't bore you, but we got to get through this. But there are going to be some few interesting things that we're going to be talking about because some of the names that are mentioned here are going to be important for later chapters. So bear with me. Here we go. Genesis chapter 10, verse 1 says, "These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. So the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tirash. The sons of Gomer, Eshkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah." So one name that does pop up here that you will hear later on, especially like in the book of Revelation, is the name Magog. Okay, so some people will tell you that there's actually two nations that are mentioned in Revelation. It's Gog and Magog. And I won't get into who those nations may or may not be. There's plenty of stuff to watch on YouTube that will tell you some explanations on who they are. But it basically boils down to that it could be Persia and Russia. But anyway, let's keep going. Verse 4 says, the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. And verse 5 says, "From these, the coastland peoples spread in their lands, each with his own language by their clans and their nations." And verse 6 says, "The sons of Ham were Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan." Now, these are some very, very important people because they're going to start nations. Cush is the ancient name of the people of Ethiopia, which eventually Ethiopia is going to play a very important role, not just in Judaism, but also in Christianity. And then we see Egypt. Now, originally, the name that was used here, it was not Egypt, it was Mizraim, but it is translatable. It does translate to Egypt or the caustic people. And then, of course, Canaan, which we know that Canaan is going to come up over and over and over in the Old Testament, where the Israelites are constantly going to be fighting with the people of Canaan and the Canaanite gods and all of the things that happen with the Canaanites, rather. And so Genesis chapter 10, verse 7 says, "The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sapta, Rama, and Zapteka. The sons of Rama were Sheba and Dedan." Verse 8 says, "Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man." So this means, this mighty man is a word in Hebrew that is the word Gibor. Okay, so the Gibor is this phrase comes from it basically means
That's what you were talking about before.
champion, a brave like a hero. Okay, so he is he's the first person that is considered to be this, and there's a lot of even in other ancient texts you'll hear about Nimrod, but in other texts from other civilizations you'll find him as a hero and a champion. But according to the Bible, Nimrod is not a very nice person. We're going to find out later in this same book in Genesis about the things that Nimrod does do. Verse 10 says, the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, the land of Shinar. Verse 11 says, from that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir. Verse of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, the land of Shinar. Verse 11 says, from that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Resen, between Nineveh and Calah, that is the great city. So he builds cities, and a lot of these cities are going to come up in the Old Testament, cities that are involved in a lot of idolatry, a lot of evil. We know that in the book of Jonah, when we explore that, we're going to find out what happens to Nineveh, and also some of the other cities that are mentioned here, like Babel, and we will learn more about that very, very quickly here in the next few chapters. Verse 13 says, Egypt fathered Ludam, Anamin, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Kasluhim. So again, this is all the lineage that's coming from Ham. Okay, and remember that Noah put a curse on Ham, and that his descendants would be the servants of the others, right? And so here we have the Philistines, the Egyptians, we have the Babylonians that are going to come from Ham. We see the Canaanites that are going to come from Ham, and all of these we know later on in Scripture we're going to find out that they are among the biggest thorns in Israel's side, God's chosen people. Verse 15 says, Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth.
We're writing a new story right now. We have to.
And Jebusite, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Senites, the Arvadites, and the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterwards, the clans of the Canaans dispersed. So again, all of these tribes that are going to contend against Israel later on. Now, Israel doesn't exist yet. It's not a nation yet. But we're getting the bottom. We're getting the core, the foundation of where all these people are coming from and how they're all going to be split. Okay, verse 19 says, and the territory of the Canaanites extended from Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lasha. Again, we've got some more cities that are going to be involved in some very evil things, and these are all stemming from Ham. So we know that that people tend to follow the behavior of their parents. We see this over and over. We see this kind of like a generational curse that comes upon people. People that maybe their father or their grandfather, their great grandfather was an alcoholic, and so they become alcoholics, or they're involved in certain things, and so it passes down, and we see that these traits get passed down from one generation to the next because of the sins of the father. And so we know that Ham was he had a perverse mind, and so we know that it passes down through him to his children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, on down the line to the Canaanites and some of the Egyptians, and they're gonna fall away. So it says, verse 20, these are the sons of Ham by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. Verse 21 says, to Shem also, the father of all children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The sons of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. That's verse 23. Verse 24 says, Arpachshad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Now, this name Peleg actually means division. So I actually looked up this word that's used. In his days the earth was divided. So the earth is this word called Eretz, right? And that's a Hebrew word, and it actually can have two meanings. So it actually can mean the actual earth, the ground itself, but it can also mean the
come on, it's clearly talking
so
about division by
because we're going to find out
nations.
later on in this book that the nations are going to be divided at something that happens at the Tower of Babel. We're going to get into that in one of the next chapters. But another thing that's important to understand is that even we know that through the records of the earth, it looks like there was one continent that was called Pangea, and that it was divided, that it was spread apart. And that possibly it happened at the same time. That not only did God separate the nations, which we will see in the next chapter, but also that the earth itself was divided from going from Pangea into all different continents. Verse 26 says, Joktan fathered Almodad, Shelef, Hazar Meveth, Zerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. Verse 30 says, the territory in which they live extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar to the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. And verse 32 says, these are the Shem by from Mesha in the direction of Sephar, sons of Joktan. Verse 30 says, the territory in which they live extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar to the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. And verse 32 says, these are the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their genealogies in their nations, and from these nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. So we're going to end here and in the end of chapter 10, and we're going to get into chapter 11 that is going to cause quite a bit of stir when we find out what actually happens. And a lot of people, I want y'all to stick around to chapter 11, because we're going to get into something that's very, very deep that a lot of people skip over when they read the book of Genesis, and they don't even know that there's some things that are hidden in the 11th chapter of Genesis. So until next time, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a like, and be sure to share it with someone that might be interested in learning more about the book of Genesis. And also, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll get notifications when I do put out a video. I try to put one out every.
So, any thoughts before we close out, Zero?
Just that some of these, things that aren't necessarily connected, I have intuitions about, sometimes it's pitfalls with the linguistic seeming cognates and stuff, but the whole thing with Urkesh being a Hurrian city kind of seems to be in that realm as described with like the last time the journey of Abraham. Those Hurrians, the city being called Urkesh, it seems to be closer than any of the others.
So
Where he might be from, and then Haran seems to be related to Hurrians.
This is interesting. So I just found this. So, and here, so Vayavo Shnei Hamalachim, and the two angels or two messengers came Stom to Sodom by Erev in the evening. Velot Yoshev, and Lot sat Bisha'ar Stom in the gate of Stom. Vayera Lot, and when Lot saw them, Vaikam Likrotam, he got up to greet them. Vayishtachu apayim artza, and he bowed his face to the ground. So what's interesting is here it says Shnei Malachim, so the two messengers or two angels. That implies that the third person was God, because you had three people, but it didn't call them messengers before or angels before, because there was a third in their presence that wasn't.
So they are called angels as they go into Sodom.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, on that note, let's see what was this. Yeah. Let's see. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. All right. On that note, we're going to close out. This was fun. Take care. I'll talk to y'all later.
Want to tell the Rebbe the words of the new song that we're singing with Mashiach, right? So I'm just going to read him. Am Yisrael, have no fear. Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Okay? We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach will pay attention. We don't run away. Pray while Mashiach now. We don't run away.